Morning team, how's it going everyone? Morning. I'm here. All right folks, so dailies. All right, back over to the dailies. Let's think about where we are now for this week. Coming into Wednesday, no more real scheduled news, at least today, nothing major. Got through most of it already this morning. As you can see, yesterday we printed that inside bar. Hardly surprising, isn't it, given the size of Monday. So inside bar on Tuesday, and Wednesday we're looking at two things now, right? Can we start to hold the bid above this key level here, the open close transition from Monday, Tuesday? All right, so are we willing to hold the bid around the 420s? All right, if we are willing to hold a bid there, or even if we come down and then reclaim that 420s, all right, we can use that as potential base to drift higher to backtest potentially, all right, Monday high, previous week point of control, if they're willing to do it. All right, the other option, of course, would be a failed break. So it would be a look above, probably above Tuesday's high, and a rotation back inside, back into the chop. All right, and we don't get true downside pressure until we start losing this volume. All right, so we don't get true upside pressure until we base above and hold, and we don't get true downside pressure until we base below and puke it out. And inside here, we'll rotate. All right, so I'll try and leave that zone alone unless I'm looking for some form of dip, which I think could potentially set up. We've moved back to the higher time frames. You can see where we are on the hourlies. I'm just going to make this a bit bigger for you lot. All right, versus previous week and the week before, you can see how sensitive this level right here is. All right, that's 2 weeks ago. That's previous week. All right, and we're dancing into those levels. You can see Monday sort of looked above and failed, came back in. Current week is developing right here. All right, and previous day prior, this is, remember, prior to that H1 print, which we kept talking about, kept saying the compression down here versus this level is getting very tight. I expect to squeeze at some point. Be careful of news. It's what we got. It's not that I was predicting the news. It just, from a technical point of view, it's what we were setting up. It just needed a catalyst. That catalyst came late in the day. But we're still, basing around these levels, aren't we? When not really much has changed. So I'd be watching 420s to hold for that previous day level. That sort of 420s here, right in here. If they're willing to hold this, they're going to look to rotate to take out overnight highs. And then if they really start to get going, you're looking for 600, 730, 900. That doesn't all have to be today. It's just if they're able to hold. If we're going to do the failure to print above previous week's value area low, thank you. All right, if we're going to fail previous week's value area low, or even if we print inside and we fail, so maybe we come inside and we come back down and say, hey, we're not willing to hold this, right? That would need to bid. If they're not willing to hold previous week's value area low or the current week's point of control, then we're probably going to see that downside pressure to come and back test previous day value area high, previous day point of control. And in here, we can rotate. All right, in here we can build out. How do I know that? Well, we've done it many times before. All right, so the market's telling you, it's basically telling you this is, for the current week, this is really fair value. All right, we're just stuck in here. It doesn't look like much, but it's quite a few 100 points in here. All right, so we're very, very, very aware of that. Yeah, I know that 20 day actually crossed for me yesterday. They crossed the 200. Thanks for that, bud. So we just have to see. All right, we're going to have to wait and see how, if and how the market acts. All right, so I'm going to be watching a few things. I'm going to be watching to see if we build liquidity here and hold for the drive higher. And if we're going to get that drive higher, do we take out overnight highs? Do we come into 600, 700, and 900? Or is the opening drive going to be a clear out of these highs, maybe even up to 6, and instantly sold? All right, and if we then start failing previous week value area low, I'm going to deem this as a look above and fail, and maybe I will take that rotation back down here. If we clear out, fail, can't rebid, I'll take the sell down to the bottom side of the range, and I'll probably be covering down there. All right, we're not truly bearish, remember, until we get under this. All right, that's where you're going to see weakness come in to the market. In here, you're probably going to see a lot of chop. Ideally, this morning, I'm going to look for longs out the gate. So it's either going to be this long here, or if it's a deep shove, this long here, that would be TP1, TP2. I don't really want to play a squeeze long out the gate. Ideally, I'm not going to play that, but we'll see. If it sets up, it sets up. and then I'll be waiting for a return in. Are we willing to hold that return in, or do we lose it? And in which case I'll play that sell down. All right, so that's my plan this morning. Ideally, I'd rather be long side if it provides the opportunity to be long side. All right, gamma. You can see we're moving into positive gamma now. Again, the bottom side, the highest volume node for options is right back down here into 260, which is basically previous day value area high. So it's just a question of, do they want to come and test this early morning? Right? Do they want to come and test this and then pick it up and then try and base? I don't know, folks. I genuinely don't know what they want to do, because we are a little bit of a mess in here. All right, a little bit of a mess. But if you want to mark out these GEX levels, they're there for you. So a positive above 260, we can really get going above sort of 500, 510, and the targets will be sort of Monday pre-market highs, as you can see, possibly all the way up into 795, which lines up pretty well with 883. So I think if we come up to 795, we're probably going to keep drifting for that previous week point of control, which would be a mean reversion, by the way. All right, that's your 20-day. So if we didn't have to be today, if we did do this move, that would be your mean reversion, wouldn't it? All right, that would be your mean reversion. There's your 5-day. This would be a 5-day, 20-day mean reversion. And like I said, up here, probably a very good area to short. I'm very interested if buyers get stuck up there. Okie doke. Let's get through these. Move to a 5, move to ES, and go through the same stuff. All right, so we're starting to bid above this key level. We can mark this out as great. All right, and you can see we keep bidding off this big gamma level. All right, 6640 to 6630 are your levels today for ES. If it's willing to keep bidding on there, right, it's going to try and come up for the 700s. Again, same kind of story as NQ. It's trying to take out those highs. It's trying to get right up to this Monday or pre-market high. You can see supplies up there from 700 to 750. That is supply up there. That's where it's trying to go. So if dips hold into 640, 630, they're going to try and rotate it. If the dips fail, or they have a push and a failure, and we start sort of getting heavy underneath 640, 630 on the back test, that's the rotation. Probably I'd be looking down to 580, and if they really let go, then yes, we come right the way down here. I'm not really looking at that yet. I'd be looking at the range first, and then if we stay heavy under here, then we can think about that move. So very, very similar to NQ. I'd say possibly even cleaner, really. So you just want to mark out, you know, does 640, 630 hold on dips, right? Even a little bit below and fail and reclaim. If it does, we're long. Even if it holds above that, and you're looking to take partials into the 700s, basically. That's the move if they're willing to do it. It can very well chop all day to do that, by the way. What it's showing it wants to do as of yesterday and on the day before. Same story on NQ, on spiders. All right, 55s is your level. Does 655s hold at midpoint where we broke out from? There's the breakout. Can we hold sort of 55s, maybe even a bit deeper? If we let go 55s, we're going to come back test 50, which is the edge of the range. If we lose 50s on a back test, we go deeper. So again, same kind of story. Can we hold 55s? If we hold 55s, can we lift? If we lose 55s, do we fail? If we pop over this morning, maybe clear out 62s and then come back down and cannot base, they would need to base here, then you can get that rotation back in. All right, so you've got to be willing to be a bit flexible here. I'm slightly biased edge at the moment. That can change very, very quickly. QQQ, same kind of story. All right, we know where they're trying to go. All right, this big 600 level is the big level that they'd like to get to. Same kind of story. We're much deeper here on the Qs. It would need to come much deeper for a back test of that big level. But I'd like it to hold right in here. 88s. All right, if we can hold 88s for a little bit below fail, reclaim 88s. Again, coming back for those Monday highs, if possible, to come and clean them out. Again, if we pop this morning, I'd say over 91s, and then we fell inside 91s and inside 90s, there's the rotation down to 88s if we lose 88s, 85. So again, willing to play both sides of the market today. I'd rather be bullish, but willing to play both. Dixie's still in a range, right, until we get, you know, complete news on what's going on in the Middle East. There's lots of news, lots of it contraindicating each other at the moment. Until we get, you know, complete news. The worry at the moment is that some of you might have seen in the afternoon, we talked about, you know, Pentagon putting boots on the ground. Boots go on the ground. That probably happens. If we get a truce, peace deal, that probably happens. All right, so we're just building out liquidity. All right, MAG. Yesterday did also say that the peace deal was close. So there's lots of stuff going on. I'm not going to make comments on it. It just is what it is. All right. They don't all agree. Not all the news articles agree. There are lots of games being played by lots of people, including journalists, for clout right now. So let's just see. We've got to be willing. You've got to use hard stops in this market. All right. News articles will absolutely wreck you if they're the wrong side of the trade. All right. Apple, like we talked about yesterday, can it hold 50s? That was the hold yesterday of 50s. All right. And then can we drive up to 55s, which is trying to do. If we get through 55s, we're coming into this block here. Remember, we're looking at this at the moment. And if we can do this, market will get going. All right. But 55s is a big level. And then you're looking at sort of 56, 57s, and then right up here into this edge of 59.50s. But playing out quite well versus what we talked about yesterday. Amazon, kind of similar story, but we've had relative weakness in this. Okay, so there's the last breakdown. We have now undercut, which is what it was trying to do. That happened on Monday, so we printed back up. We've now forced in a higher low back inside this range, which means this is starting to look more and more like a look below and fail. All the time they're willing to hold 07s. A break over 12s will start using this move here. All right, that's what they're trying to do. It might be that it needs to go sideways for longer and longer and wait for a news catalyst, very much like the rest of the market, but it's looking better now. That undercut was important. If we can keep this higher low now, all the time we're defending sort of 06 and 05s, it's got a chance here on Amazon to start moving. Again, macro environment does matter. Goog, lagging behind what we've talked about in the rest of it. All right, but gapping up here after undercutting. Can we hold? Can we reclaim this? All right, can we reclaim this pivot? Washed under, gapping up now. You can see gapping up from sort of 89s. Can we hold a back test of 92s and then start getting that rush higher for a back test of 300, 302s, 306s on Goog? That's the question. Otherwise, if they come up here and reject, this is just going to be a bear flag right at the low to be built out to move lower. So we'll see. But we have undercut now, so lots of shorts would have taken their profit there. Meta, that doesn't look so good, to be honest. That looks pretty poor. I wouldn't really be willing to bid on Meta until we start reclaiming these 10s. All right, you can see 90 is the level, but 10s really is the level. All right, this is where we broke down from. We retested stay heavy. We retested stay heavy. This can still be a bear flag to move lower, but if we can move over 610s, I'd say all the shorts in here then get caught. So I'd be watching 610s. In fact, I'm going to watch it so much, I'm going to set a price alert there in case we come back over it. All right, Microsoft, weakness still coming in here. Same kind of story. It needs to reclaim 77s. It's where we just broke down from. We're still seeing weakness on this tape. All right, these are the levels. So can we get through 77s and a base for that drive to 86s? Otherwise, we are still losing bids. Let me just zoom out on a daily, see where we're at. We're coming into really big levels, man. I really want an undercut here on Microsoft. That is where I'd really love to get long into some of these pockets, but we will see. I'm already long small size, but I'd really love it to undercut that tariff low that we put in. Would be amazing. Running out of time here, got to get a move on. Nvidia, again, defended 70s on Monday. We've come back inside. It wants to defend this pocket now, 74, and it's got to come back. Really, this is the level, 180. All right, how we act at 180, you can see there. Support, support, resistance, support, support, resistance, come back down into the 70s. If we broke that, whole market would have puked out. We saved it. We're going to come back and test 80s. Reclaim 80s, I'd say there's a good chance of a squeeze if we reclaim 80s. All right, that's pretty much it, folks. As you covered, let's move into the... Let's smash that like button nice and early, please, folks, because we haven't done a giveaway last few days. We've got to get to at least 1,000 likes, and really nowadays we should be getting to 1,200 to 1,500 likes. And we give away some Apex accounts and some courses. All right, make sure you've gone through your morning prep. You're ready to trade. You know what you're doing. You're aware. Market open coming up here. Try to get the stream up here so I can see you guys. All right, and let's just see what we get. morning drive. Remember, we're watching 420s and sort of the 300s. So 420s hold and 300s, we can look for that drive higher. And that drive higher, we're going to watch overnight highs. So here's previous week value area low where we are now. We're going to watch overnight highs and 630s. But ideally, we can come back and test sort of 420s all the way down to 300s first. I don't really just want to go sideways for another session, but it's very possible. That H1 candle that we got 420 yesterday, that was the candle I was kind of looking for all day. Eventually it came. Okay, so starting to lift. Make sure I've got my right account on. There we go. Let's get some volume on here. There we go. All right, so still in this grey box. Remember, this grey box that we're in right now is from previous week's profile, right around that previous week value area low. And we're not able to move above that node yet. And really, the edge of the node is 520. So we get through that node, then I think there's a good chance of a lift to 600. We're just still in no man's land at the moment, just for now. Things will change. Things will change. All the mag nice and green today as well, by the way, all gapping up. So we're still printing over those 420s. It's possible they just set the squeeze here and go straight away today. It would be kind of annoying if they did, but it's very possible we come straight up. I'd much rather see some kind of back test here and maybe even here. Here, I would definitely think about the long like this, but if we build out liquidity here, I'm going to have to be willing to play that, and the first targets would be 530s and then up here, but we'll just give it some time. Give it some time to shake out, wait for some players to turn up on the tape. Let's see what we get. ES already doing that move, by the way. It's coming up for Globex highs, previous day high already. So again, relative strength in ES this morning. It's found a bid here early. Opened up at 660s, already driving up towards the 680s. And a 682 clear out. We'll get it going to the 705s like we talked about pre-market. So I'm watching here if NQ is going to play the catch-up trade. Maybe a test back down towards VWAP and New York Open would be interesting first. It's kind of got to be a bit careful because those VWAPs are very flat. All right, the clouds, the EMA clouds, the VWAPs, previous week value area low, New York Open, they're all just stacked together and they're flat. They're not trending right now. They're going to require a little bit of patience. So here's the move back towards 40s. Can we get down towards 20s and maybe even down to 320s? And then I'll think about the long. So New York Open here. ES rejecting top of the range. There's the New York Open, the 430s. Remember the 420s was the bigger, higher time frame level. I'd say if we start letting go of 420s and we can't catch a bid, there's a good, strong argument for a rotation back down to 320s. I don't think I'll take that, if I'm being honest, without a clear out of the highs. I'd be more willing to take that if we clear out the highs. So I'll probably wait for the long down there. If we fail to clear out the highs and we're going to come rotate from 420 to 300, I'll probably just wait for the long. All right, caught bids in front of New York Open. So let's just letting this shake out right now. We're in fairly tight range this morning for the opening prints, 30, 40 points, that's all. And buyers trying to step in here. They're a bit more stacked down at 440, 420. I just want to see if we see some absorption and then a lift, and I'll start to get in. Here's the 470. They're looking for that break. ES trying to play catch up here as well. Not long yet, but we're looking to get long if we're going to start to build and hold. Right, piece on long here because we look like we're going. Versus VPOC, here we go. So we want to clear out, first of all, 85. And then we can start lifting. Previous week open 500. And then through that, remember, I'm looking for that lift towards overnight high and previous week value up here. These kind of levels up here. Getting stuck there. Haven't quite cleared out that 85 yet. Once we clear out 85, we've got a good chance to go. I've just got a small piece on. In fact, I'm going to move my stop in because I think this is incorrect on my screen. Let's make sure 51s, previous week value area low. You need to come down. You are in the wrong place. Here we go. All right, so looking to see if we can lift through 85s here and through the imbalance and start to get going for that move up to 500, 530s. So I'm long here at the moment versus basically 62s. I'm actually got a fill at 61s. I'm not going to give it much room. Coming right back down to that point of control and a little imbalance here at 56s. We don't hold a New York Open and 51s, I'll be out. Still holding this. Looks okay for now. That last dip came in and held into those 50s. And we need to clear out 85 and then we can get going. Here we go. Here's the clear out of 85. So here we go. We're getting going now. Really nice. Right, and let's just see if we can get for the full rotation all the way up into 530s and above. So if you want to take some profit here, you can, because if they're going to do an internal sweep, it would be above 85. But I'm looking for a full rotation all the way up into this, if possible. If they're going to be kind. So yes, almost there already. So just be aware of that. More buying coming in here at 500. Still think we can keep going here. Really good. Here we go, folks. So we're almost there to TP1. I'm trying to get up to 35 to 550. And then above that, we can get more. Very, very close to the 35s. We got up to 23s there. We're almost there. They're stacking 20s at the moment. Just be careful of a flush back down to sort of 80s. I'd want it to absorb 80s if we came back down here, if I was going to re-add. Buyers coming in here again at 14s. Need to break above 14s quickly here. Looking good so far, looking good, folks. And once we get through sort of 550s, 540s, we can think about the 600s. All right, here's the pullback to 500. If they're going to do a deep pullback, they're going to come back to 880. Just be aware of that. Manage your position accordingly. So here's the pullback towards 500. If they're going to go deep, they're going to come 880. So far, still in this. If we come deep, I'd consider an add. Come on, baby. Keep lifting this thing. Here we go, coming for Globex. ES now through Globex as well. So orange line and then red line and then the next box above is what we're looking for, ideally all the way up here. But we're going to take profits into these, folks. All right, this is value area high on the week. This is Globex. This is previous day high. So this is your TP1 area. And if we base and hold here, we're going to look for this move here, okay? But this is definitely a TP1 area. This is edge of range on the current week. We are midpoint of the week, Wednesday. Sorry, did I say the wrong thing? 480s, yeah, sorry, if I got it wrong. So we need price to hold 500s, and if it loses 500s, we're going to come to 480s. I want price to hold 480s. I'm not willing to see price below 480s on this long. All right, and if we hold 480s, I'm willing to add. So just be careful. ES is now swept, so you have some divergence. ES has taken out the high. Here's the 500s. Now, if we lose this, we probably come 480s, and then how we at there becomes very, very, very important. There's 500s. Nice reclaim of 5s. Added a little bit here. Hopefully it doesn't get me stuck because we've got to break through 14s, which is where supply is. I might get myself caught here. I've moved my average up a little bit. Maybe we're going to come 480s here now. I might have killed myself on this trade. If we don't hold 480s, I'll probably have to take a break even here. Thought we were going to hold 5s. Here's the 480 test. Losing 480. If we lose 480s, we're going to come 60s and I'll be out. 80 test here. Now or never. Market has to absorb here, or I'm going to have to cut it because we're going to come 60s, and then means we've had divergence at Globex. Good hold of 80s. We've got to get back above 500s now, though. Here we go. It's trying. It's trying. Come on. Get back above it. 500, the big level. It's where a buyer came in this morning. They're trying again. 46 slot here. Here's a 500. We've got to get back above 500, and then we're going to have to struggle to get through 514s. So it's a good hold of 80s. Let's see. Here we go. Really good. All right, we've got to get back through 15s now. So that was the deep pullback to 80s that we talked about. Still in this. Really good. Now we get back through 14s and 18s, and we get through those, then we should have a shot at getting through the previous day high and certainly through Globex. Dips now, I'd want the whole 500. Don't want it back under 500. They've done a lot of work to get up to above 5 and tap into the 14. So I would want a 14-point range here. Don't want to see it below 500 here. Really don't want them to hold 500 and then just shove it up. And then come and clear out all that liquidity above into Globex. It'd be really helpful if ES can get back above Globex and previous day high and start basing. That's really good. Now we need to lift through 18s and start sending it. Here we go. Really good. Really hold. Really good hold. Come on, shove it through. We've got to get back through 20s. Break of 20 should send it. All right, but we're getting tight up here. But a break of 20 should send it. I'm really sorry, guys. I'm not going to answer any questions this morning. I'm going to get back to that rule that I had last week. I'm going to trade the first 30 minutes without looking at screen. So you guys are going to have to support each other. I really cannot be trying to trade the open and answer questions. Okay, looking for this 20 lift now to send it. And then I'm going to try and get something off between sort of 37 and 50. And then just see if we can lift all the way up then at that point. So if we break 37 and 50, I'm going to look for that move back into the next node from previous week, which is basically 590,600. So if we can get through 537 and 550, I'm going to look for the move to 600. But we keep getting stuck here. We're seeing divergence here over and over and over again. We have to be aware of it because remember on previous week, this is a big node. All right, so I'm just watching this very carefully. This node here is what we're stuck in right now. All right, we defended this node this morning on the pullback. I'm looking to see if we can break TP1 and come into the next node. And if we really start sending it, great, we're positioned well for it. But if they can't do it, they can't do it. Again, ES has done the break. It's done the move. That's the second day in a row we've seen relative strength in the ES. And we're coming right back down to the 80s again. So now I'm out of this again. So I said, if we broke underneath 500, I'd take it off. There's the break under 500. I can always re-add in. If they lose 80s, they're going to come back down for 660s. And that's going to look pretty ugly at that point because it's going to be an internal sweep. So really, bulls need to step up pretty soon in here. Because if they don't, that's going to be an internal sweep into the edge of the range. And if they lose this, they're going to come right back down. And it's annoying that we didn't take this. ES, by the way, did take that like we talked about. So right back down into the 60s. Bids are going to have to show up here or they're going to get in big, big, big trouble. Again, I'm flat now because we didn't hold the 500s. We just see. Shame that we can even sweep there on NQ. I feel like this is 5th day in a row now without sweeping. Or like hitting a big liquidity level, even though the mag looked incredibly great this morning and we've had another day of being unable to take out liquidity. Yesterday was the same. They eventually did it at 420. They spent all day dithering around rejected P still. Is that true? Let me have a look. I mean, that's been circulating for 2 or 3 days now. We'll see if there is actually even a P still, because like what we saw yesterday was interesting out of Pentagon. Press TV has access to information about Iran's response to American plan and Iran's conditions to end the war. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff circulating here. All sorts of news circulating here. Definitely not not willing to bid down here at the moment after having a failed breakout of the highs. There's no confirmed date or venue for possible US-Iran talks, with Islamabad and Iran has not yet agreed to talks. That's come from Pakistani officials. I mean, there's just too many sources and not enough clarity at the moment. That would be the best way of me putting it. Oh, I can't believe we didn't get this. Maybe I was a dick for a tick there. ES took it. That's somewhat frustrating. We couldn't come and clear out, because even the clear out there and a duck inside provides a better short. It's just like yesterday at the lows. We didn't fill the gap. We did take blowbacks yesterday though at the lows. We didn't fill the gap, and then we went back up, and then we went sideways. Still holding value area low on the current session though, and this node's going to start to become important now. This is going to be important for sentiment. And if we start to lose New York, there's an argument to come back down here like we talked about at the beginning of the day. That trade for me would have been better if we did this here. Would be much better because it's got much less reason to come back upside. But we will see. If it sets that up, we'll consider it. It's not really what I want, given that we haven't swept, but I will have to consider it. All right back down to this New York Open. Mag still look pretty healthy. Tesla 2.70% up, Nvidia 2% up, Meta 0.32% up, Microsoft 0.30% up, Meta 1.07% up, Google 1.02% up, Amazon 2.38% up, Apple 0.63% up. Yeah, just have a little slide through them. TradingView wants to wake up. Yeah, nice pop up from Tesla this morning. Came right into its 20-day, 200-day, into the 95s. Nice drive up from Nvidia. Came right up to the 180s. Failed in front of 180s. They're going to have to see if they hold a bid at 78.40s now. Microsoft, the weak one today, but looking like a gap fill, sliding lower, like we talked about. That looked like the weak one all day or in the dailies. Meta right at that 600 under over. No real move there. Just dancing. Just wash the pre-market low. Wash the pre-market high. No decision. Goog, big push and fail into 295s, back to 290s, not taking out day lows yet. Amazon, big drive and starting to hold, stuck at a gamma level at 212, above its 20-day, starting to try and create a bid, but we've had failures above that gamma level at 212.50. Apple starting to slide back down to pre-market lows. Remember, that thing can afford to come right back down to 50s again if it wants us. Got stuck at the gamma highs at 55s, back in a rotation, 52 50s and then 50s for Apple. For downside pressure. Yeah, kind of no man's land across the board, really. SPY cleared out the 60s, came into the 200-day, rejected the 200-day on the SPY, back down into the midpoint of the range. Oh, yeah, AMD having a nice shove again today. Back to this New York Open. Again, if we slide here under this box, there is an argument. If we just zoom out, I would have preferred it if we'd cleaned this out and then got stuck here. There would have been an early short and then an add short here for this and then a bid here back up. So there's an argument for this. I think it's very risky without cleaning this out, but we did have divergence at the highs. I probably might leave it, and there might be a short here if you guys want to take it. I might leave it and wait to see if we bid here, because I just think it's a little bit dangerous given what's going on. But we'll see. Maybe I'll be forced to take it. Back to the fours. Remember, this is the big level from previous week, 420s. If they stay heavy under 420s, there's a very strong argument for that move back down to 300s. This is a very sensitive level now. You've now had your opening range now set. And sellers came in at 36s and just came in again at 16. So the time we're staying heavy under that and the low of day print. Big, strong selling here. Very aggressive, strong selling down here, folks. So if they stay heavy, you're probably going to see that full rotation down to, where was it? 300s, 309s. There it goes. And they're letting go of this whole thing now. And I'd say if they stay heavy at 410s, between 410s and 438s, you probably get follow through. Lots of bids down here at 375s, but you should just complete the rotation now. Like I said, if we let go of the grey box, there's a very strong chance we come down to here. You like to see them back test it, really, so it gives you an opportunity to get short, because that was very aggressive. So again, 410s, I'd watch 410s to sort of 430s on the back test. That was your back test towards 410s there. So if they stay heavy 410s to 430s, you should ideally sweep this and break for you. I'm not in the short, but that's what I'd be looking for now. If we stayed heavy at 410s to 430s, I'd be looking for this move. We talked about pre-market again. This is really gross at the highs, but 410s to 430s, anything that stays heavy here should complete this move, or at least take this out here. It's double bottom, which is a bit of a joke right now. And you want to be careful with ES coming into 640 down to 625. That's where I imagine they're trying to find a bid. This would have been A+ if they could have just taken the liquidity at the high first, but there we go. That's NQ at the moment. There we go. So nice rejection in front of 410s. You came right up to 403s. You should complete this rotation now down into this. Definitely TP1 here. You want to stay heavy under this wick, and hopefully for you guys who are short, I'm not in it, you get this move down into this. And you want to be covering into this pool. Previous day value area high, previous day point of control, gamma level, previous day value area low, previous day close, all stacked in here. That's your TP area. I would have loved this as an A+ if we could have just done this for me, because I could have got a nice position here and here. Unfortunate. Sometimes market doesn't give me what I want. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Can you short from 420? Well, I mean, you want to be careful now because you've now undercut, right? So you've just swept here. So you want to be careful if you're going to think about a reload up here. Again, I'd say 410s to 436 would have to stay heavy. If they don't stay heavy there after undercutting, I'd be very concerned that this is a trap. But all the time they stay heavy here, heavy on the retest, you're okay. Still not seeing any other news. They're still staying heavy versus 410. No reclaim of there. Remember, big sellers. I'll show you. Big sellers came in 410. That's a huge sell point. Okay, so all the time you're heavy under 410. Definitely, if you stay heavy under 84, they're going to try and rotate you into this block down here. All right. Just be aware though, you've done the undercut down here. So if you get excess in a reclaim, if you start reclaiming 84s, they're going to come test 10s. If you retest 10s, you're going to come 37s. Reclaim with 37s. It's night for shorts. Okay, so I'm not in it short. I didn't get the A+ scenario for me, but there we go. Could see it coming, but it just didn't quite fit my parameters. It was close, very close. I'll just wait for it now. Again, if you traded the spiders off that 200 day, I think your cover point really on the SPY, you need a break of that pre-market low, 56.50s. And then you should get 655s on the spiders. QQQ is trying to get back down into 585 and maybe 586, 585, big level QQQ from yesterday's where we broke out from before that sort of 420 H1 breakout, coming back down into sort of pre-market IB high from yesterday, those kind of zones where we started basing out. So we're going to test 380 now. And if they get through 380, where did that last buyer come and get caught? He got a bit caught at 88s. So I'd say break through 88s, we go back to 410s again. So that's the area that they got to defend. ES just came into that 640s, remember? So I'd say from 640 down to 630s, a big level that ES will probably start to cover. They'll cover the shorts into and possibly even bid off. Really depends what the sentiment is. Back into rotation now. So if we just zoom out, where's my... all I was looking for today was a hold of this and a sweep of this. And then if they wanted to keep going, great. And if they turn back inside, I was willing to be short and add down to here. So we didn't get the sweep. That's why I didn't get the move I wanted. Did get divergence. And now the sells, if they want, they're going to try and come back down into here. Big node down into 270s, but down into here. If we start reclaiming here, we're going to go back into this node. You can see this node's very, very sensitive. All right, previous week value area low, current week point of control. It's been rotated in a lot on Monday, a lot on Tuesday, a lot in Tuesday evening, a lot this morning, pre-market and currently. All right, so it's a huge, huge level that we're back into. All right, so back through the 80s, we're coming back through the 90s now. 410s is the big level. That's where the big sellers came in. If they pop 410s, they're going to test 16s, and then they're going to test 36s. So shorts will want to defend 410s. They won't really want it above that. They'll be pretty miffed. I'd say if bids start to support 84s now, shorts would be in a bit of trouble because there's good excess at the low under 70. So if the bid starts stepping in 84s, I'd be concerned about being a seller. You got both sides, Roscoe. Nice work, man. Nice work. So here's the test back towards 84s. If they start protecting 84s, I'd be considering getting out of the short. If they start protecting 84s. If you come back under 84s and back under 80s, then you look good to hold the short. But if we start protecting this, I'd be slightly concerned that they're going to come and get through the 410s. And if they build through the 410s, you're going to get up to 436s probably pretty quickly. So we just held that last back test, just held 84. They're coming to have another quick check of it now. It's a very big level, this 84s now, 384s. They held it, that last M1 held it. And if we start squeezing, we're going to go 410 for the check. And that's really the last point that sellers will need to defend. So it's back into the 84s again here. And if they break down here, then you can potentially get a new low or at least a retest of 66s. But you can see bids are trying to hold the 84s. They know it's a big level here. There you go, absorbed 84s again. They're not getting follow through above 95s yet. So above 95s, they're going to try and get to 410s. Here we go. Here's the move back up towards the 410s then. And if they break 410s, there's a good chance we get up to 36s. Here's the 410 level. So we just went 84 to 410, right? On the dot, right? 84 to 410. We just did the move. And if we get through 410s, we're going to go 36s. Rejected 410s, back to 84s. If we get under 84s, we're going to flush. You can see the rotation happening. They're testing the big players in the market. That's what's happening right now. Under 84s, we stay heavy. There we go. Now we're going to test 66s. All right, so good rejection of 10s where they had to defend. That was their last stand. Now they lose 84s. We go back to 66s. And they will need to get a new low down here, I can tell you, because they got very aggressive on the sell down here now. So they will be needing a new low and a break. Otherwise, they're going to get caught if there's too much absorption. I'd imagine there's a very good chance to move down into here now. There's a really good test of the 10s, right? After holding 84s, there's the 10s, there's the failure. They're trying to get down here. They need a new break of low here. They really, really need it, and they need it soon. Some buyers got trapped. I mean, very, very light. Honestly, it's more just aggressive selling than anything else. There was some buying, yeah, but it's more about that 410 level, right? The sell level, right? If we think about this, it's more about this guy here. This sell got protected, all right? And then we held now under 84s, and if they can get an aggressive breakdown, they're going to come back down into this if possible. And see, there's the break of the low. Now, we got very heavy at 70 and below. So they're going to want to stay heavy at 70 below. Certainly, they're going to want to stay heavy at 84 and below. And there's a very good chance we come and test back down into this pocket now. Here we come. There you go. Beautiful move. And you want to be covering some on this slide into previous day value area low, previous day point of control, and the 260s, right? You want to be covering some in this move here, folks. Right into the 320s. You want it a bit lower. I really hope it doesn't do the same thing it did at the high, because ES has just taken the low. I hope you guys get filled on a proper liquidity run here instead of what we're seeing on NQ again today. Reached half your goal. Nice work. Nice work. That will be very dirty if they don't complete this move for you guys on NQ. I'd be very miffed for you guys. They're taking the piss a little bit at the moment on NQ by coming right into levels and not taking them. I don't think it's complete yet. I think we will probably make a new low. But again, you'd have to watch 84s again. That's going to be your level. Man, ES took the low and NQ didn't. It's just like a rinse repeat. So we're coming back to test 84s. NQ, you are horrible not taking those lows out. Here's the 84s. And if you get through 84s, you're going to go back to the 10s. But I'd say you need to defend 84s this time because you've already defended 10s. That is horrible, right? So this is exactly the same as what we did topside. We missed it, all right? We were looking for the sweep of this, and we're looking for the sweep of that downside. By the way, ES has done that and done that. That is so horrible if they don't go and take it. All right, 84s is your level. All right, if you start printing above 84s, I'd really consider getting out because you're going to go and test 10s, and that would be the second test of 10s. So far, you're defending 84s. What a horrible, horrible bugger. NQ, you nasty, nasty piece of work. Through the 84s, so it should really technically have a chance of lifting to 10s now. We just tested the whole number of 400. There is a shelf there at 95. You can see right here is a shelf at 95. But really, if they get through this, they should be trying to lift to the 10s. So I'd be very, again, a bit like we used it earlier. If 84 holds now on a break above and a hold, I'd be very, very careful. Again, no position for me. I'm probably going to have to wait for the long opportunity. And I really hope they do the sweep if I'm going to look for the long opportunity, because otherwise it's going to be just like the short opportunity at the high. I'm not going to be able to get it. Shiz, is ES better for technical trading? No, man. It's just how it is today. Tomorrow it can be different. You'll find you'll move from one to the other. You'll be like, oh, that's trading much better. You'll move and then it will flip, and NQ would do the moves and ES won't. It's just how it is. Because we've got relative strength today in NQ, so the short's harder, which is why I wanted to be long, thinking we take out the liquidity on NQ at the highs, right? Because we had relative strength on the Qs, so I thought, okay, well, if one's going to do it, it's going to be the Qs, and I can get that move there. And if we take that and fail here, we get that, like we talked about pre-market. And instead, I took this, I added, and then I stopped out. Slightly in the money, but there we go. All right, so that up to the 10s, 84s reclaimed. You're going to go up to the 10s. If they break 10s, you're going to go 36s. And they're going to make this very hard for me to get long now. Oh, my days, my days, my days. Here's the 10s. And if they get through this, they're going to test the New York Open VWAP and that seller at 36s. And that's going to be very hard for me to get long now. What are you going to do? Not much I can do if Nasdaq doesn't want to play ball with me. Man. Sometimes you just got to laugh. Sometimes you just got to laugh. So again, any base now over 84s, because we've tapped 10s a few times, you've got a chance to go all the way back up to 36s. If they lose 84s, certainly if they lose 70s, then maybe they complete the lows, because they haven't completed that yet, because we haven't taken all this out. You are the YouTuber, you. What a trade. Nice work, folks. Sounds like lots of you getting the short back down. Really good. I'm trying to be disciplined and wait for like the A+ scenario, but I tell you what, if we drift back upside, then I'm not going to be able to get either side of the trade. Is volume lower than usual? No, I don't think so. Still very early in the day. We're only 35 minutes into the day. Full 10s here again. I'm looking at this thinking, how can I get long now on a dip? I don't think I can. I just don't think I can. Okay, we're going to come and test that guy at 37.38. So is the New York Open opening range low, VWAP, and if we reclaim this, we go right back upside, and I'm going to have to figure out if and how I can get long. Oh my God. We can still reject up here, guys. This can be a back test to move lower. Remember, this is the previous week, big level, the grey box. All right, it's a big node from the previous week. I don't want to be initiating a long in here. All right, especially without sweeping this. They can still sell this, but I'm going to watch this node here now. It becomes important for the rest of the day, as does point of control up here at 56s. So I'll watch. Like, if we're willing to bid here, it's really not ideal without sweeping, but I'll watch. This can still be an internal take to come lower. So I'll watch how we act in here. But I want to be very careful because we haven't taken the low-hanging fruit at the lows, and that is a concern for me. So rejecting that retest. So the higher time frame is rejecting so far. We're coming right into this node. And this is kind of very, very important now, what they do with it. How we act here becomes absolutely key. If they hold this, they can have a go at a shove up. And we're into some very big gamma levels on the ES. SPY not quite there, but ES is. SPY was looking for 655. They stopped short, so they front ran the SPY. We're just holding this now. We're starting to hold this. So very, very sensitive between these two levels now. Between the New York Open, the higher time frame grey box and the low time frame grey box. Right, this is what we've created today. This is previous week. It's a good hold, but they've not reclaimed anything yet. Rejecting there, so she can't get over 410s in base at the moment. If they lose it, they can come right back to sort of 70s again. No, long is not counter trend. You're trying to judge a trend on a day. You need to zoom out. All right, we're over previous day's value. We're in a range. All right, so when we're in a range, it's why I want to trade edges. If we leave a range, we can think about a trend situation. But right now, all right, right now, we're in a range, right? And I would say that we have the chance to move higher. There's your big H1 candle. That got built yesterday. This is where I said you must not be short down into here, because if too many shorts come in here, this will be the squeeze. This is potentially a higher low on an H1 right now inside of a range. It's a very good shot they have of doing this. If we let go of this, then we can think about the pro trend short. All right. We cannot start talking about trends in here. All right, this is liquidity being built. This is not a trending market in here. Okay, please make sure you're zooming out. We don't judge trends on tiny 35-minute prints in the 1 minute candles. All right, so be patient. Iran calls for definite decision and security payment for war damages, according to Press TV. Wants clear guarantees and clear payment. That's what I'm seeing right now, which makes sense. Which kind of goes against what Trump said yesterday when he said that they sent him a gift. I mean, I find that hard to believe. You blow a country up and then they send you a gift. I mean, kind of weird. We will not let Trump decide when the war ends, and we will keep defending itself. We found a proposal and we find it to be too high. I mean, I don't know how serious to take these, I'm going to be honest. Iranian media report 5 conditions to end the war. 1, full halt to aggression and assassinations by the enemy. 2, concrete guarantees that the war will not be imposed on Iran again. 3, guarantee and clearly defined war reparations. 4, an end to the war across all fronts, including all resistance groups in the regime. 5, international recognition and guarantees of Iran's sovereignty, authority over the Strait of Hormuz. I mean, they're not going to get those 5 things, but... Okay, coming for that back test again. So the grey box held, lower time frame dips held. This is the back test. If we start getting through this, then we can start lifting up here. This will be the next node. Oh, they're going to make this so flipping hard, folks. All right, I'm going to have to try and find a way of getting long. So here's the 38 test that we talked about. Why 38? It's where the seller came in this morning, right? This guy here, this guy right here is what we're testing, 38. Through that, we're going to go previous week value area low. If we start reclaiming previous week value area low, it means that everything we've seen so far, if we start to base above previous week value area low, right? If we start to hold this, it means this is a look into previous or for expansion, which is failing. This is why I'm slightly edging more bullish in the rotation right now. Here we go. Can I get long here? Here's previous week value area low. If we find acceptance through this, if we start basing now, we're just going to start shifting upside. It's a big if. So you can see this blue line, previous week value area low. It's massive level here. If we start doing this, certainly above this, we can complete this move because we did not take low hanging fruit this side. We also didn't take it this side. That's just like yesterday. We've left both sides. ES has taken both sides. ES is coming into VWAP right now. After holding the 640, 635, 630 zone that we talked about, it holding. SPY never got down to 655. I don't know why. They just decided they were going to stop short today, I guess. So we'll watch now. If we start to base above 410s, if we start to base above 410s, then we can talk about the upside move. 410s to 400. We'll see. Lots of liquidity up there. Trying to find a way to get long. I'd like a deeper pullback. I don't want to get myself caught underneath the New York Open at these VWAPs. I think there's a good chance of a lift here, and I'm happy to be wrong as well because they have not cleared out liquidity underneath. So I've got to be very, very careful on my entry here. Especially with ES below its VWAPs and below New York Open. So we're seeing big divergence. Like I said, I wanted to be long NQ because we had relative strength. NQ 0.91% up. ES only 0.68% up right now. It's a good hold there. Alex, what are you going to do? I wanted to be long here. I want to take this. What are you going to do? Got to find a way getting long here. Right, sellers coming in here trying to just defend value area high on the current session. This big node now. If we get through that, it's squeeze time, honestly. And we'll come and test the buyers at 500s. I'd like a dip here. I really want a dip to come down and hold for me to have a look at a long. And I feel much more comfortable into sort of 410s. But it might be that we just come back down into sort of 420s right now. 430s, 420s. Got to watch ES because it's still rejecting its VWAP. So trying to time this is going to be hard, given the relative weakness and the divergence between the two. And I'd say if VIX starts losing 25s as well, because we're dancing on the 25s. If VIX starts looking 25s, we're go time. All right, into the New York Open. I just want one more shove lower just to show me you're ready. And I'll try and get long. Come a bit lower, please. Still they're bidding here. A bit of a shove lower would be good. Somewhere into sort of 400 would be really nice. Watching to try and buy this, folks. We're back inside the range. We're back right above the New York Open. Just waiting to see if ES wants to join the party here. Sellers just came in here at 60s. We're right at value area high on the session. Got to be a little bit careful. Flow zone starting across. Where's that guy there? 410s. Be good if we could come down there. Buyers started coming in this morning in that consolidation, that grey box. Are they just going to fucking break and squeeze here? Jesus. If I'm going to have to play this, I'm going to play small size now because I'm losing optimal position fast. Right, I'm losing optimal position fast. We have imbalances at 74, 80, and 10s. I really want this to come back down to sort of 410s for me to think about getting long. It's done me dirty not sweeping today. You can see it on me, like I can feel it. It's building in me in not a very good way. As long as we're holding above this, right, it's good for upside. I just want something in here, anything like that, to come and complete this move. That's what I'd really like. I really want to be long down here today. we didn't sweep. All right, so this was the plan. Either long the gate for this move, and if we take the liquidity, then we can think about the short down to there and the long back up. At the moment, I got that and nothing else. And I'm salty. I'm salty over it because I can see it working for me and not giving me the entries. I know, it doesn't want to complete each side. I know, mate. It's being a naughty bugger. All right, right into value area high. This is a big node here. All right, if bulls start basing above this, the squeeze is on right up to the 50s again. And I really don't want to be buying this, but it might leave me no choice. I really want to be buying this. That's a better move. We're getting very tight up here into this node. You wanted 320, 327. Yeah, I mean, I would have taken anything. If anything like this would have been the long, right? Anything like this, or even a close the gap and this. Anything where we came and take out major liquidity pools and then find a print so I can get a cheap long back up would have been great. And then I could be thinking about adding here rather than a new core position at like a really poor entry. All right, so I'm going to have to be very careful with sizing now if I do get long. And also we have to be very careful if they reject this that they don't do the rotation back down into this, which is very possible because this is value for the day. And this is also previous week value area high. We need to be very, very, very aware of that. Here we go. Maybe we can get that move back down here. ES is still rejecting its VWAPs, by the way. Yeah, I see that 590 Qs, but I think a lot of this is to do with VWAPs and if we can find alignment between the two right now. So we just dipped back into VWAP here in the New York Open on NQ and found absorption again. You can see they're bidding, they're stacking bids from 25 to 40s right now. They're trying to force this squeeze up. So a small seller came in there, like a 92 lot at the lows on into those 40s, got absorbed. They're going to try and force this squeeze. You can see these buyers are desperate to step in. I'm not going to chase it up here. It's the worst location right now. I'm going to need a breakout and a retest if I'm going to get in up here. They're going to make this flipping hard for me. Here it goes. Here's the breakout. Oh, you mother fanculo. So stressful when you see it. Like a fucking perfect trade and you can't get in. All right, here's the imbalances. You're going to get hive days now. For fuck's sake, mate. Anyone else have this issue? You see it perfectly and it just won't give you your entries. What you going to do? What you going to do? Hopefully you guys are making money out of this. Right, any pullback that holds now, I'm going to have to think about getting long up here. All right, so I'm going to have to think about the 60s and the 48s now for the long trigger now. I want to be very careful if ES keeps rejecting, but I'm watching this very carefully. If we start holding these 60s and 58s, it's going to force me to get long. My size is going to be shrunk because I'm lost optimal position. Yeah, okay. I'm long in this. Very small size, and I'm not going to let it come under 47s. And we'll see if we can complete this rotation for the squeeze. 500s, and see if we can get to, what was that Globex level? 535. 550, and then if we can get through it all, right, this is our TP area up here. If we get lucky and if we get through it all right away into this grey block, here we go, is the squeeze. All right, well, at least I've got something on it. Okay, so watching for 500, and then we should break through that and we can get the Globex levels. Just need to squeeze up now. If they flush me out of this, I'm just going to fucking laugh. I think it would be good. The moment ES gets back through the New York Open and VWAPs, this thing should get going. So sentiment was right. Ideas were right. All of our ideas were right. We just couldn't get the A+ because it just refuses to come into the liquidity pools today. It gets very close. Here we go. So here's the 90s. You can see all the orders up here. So if you want to take some off them to 500, you can. And we just need it to hold. All right, we can just draw this out. We need it to hold. If we're bullish, we want to hold this. We want to see it hold this now, all right, which is where we just got long from. Here we go, folks. All right, here's 500 chest. Through this, I think we got a good shot of lifting up to 14. So we had a buyer stuck here earlier in the day. He's actually at 99.25s. All right, so if we get through him, here comes the big seller. Big seller at 80s, so I'm mentally marking that out now at 80s. If we hold above 80s, there's a big seller caught there. Oh, he's got some size on the book. So we want to really hold this grey box, and we want to get back above the 80s. We did just reject that whole number 500 at the same time as ES rejected that New York Open. We need ES back over that New York Open. My stop's now moved up into the money. I want to see this base and hold up here for a new micro node to be made where these sellers are. I would really like to see these sellers absorbed. Nice, nice. These sellers starting to get themselves caught here. So those sellers at 80s are currently caught. And we need to get above and print and hold above 80s. Don't want to do a dance here at 80s. We want to get above them. Otherwise, we're going to come right back down into that grey box, the 60 to 47 kind of rotation. We don't want to lose that grey box. It would be problematic. And we need ES to stop dithering around. It's rejected that New York Open. I'm very, very cautious here. My stop's moved up in the money. Grey box or nothing. It's got to hold this. If we lose this grey box, it's going to be major problematic here. Here's flow zones, here's grey box. I'm out of this now, stopped in the money. I will re-add if we start to base. ES looks awful the way it's rejected that New York Open. We'll see here. I'm happy to re-add on a new call position if we start to base here on a flush. So if we run out these stops here into 38s and then we reclaim, I'm happy to re-add. Well, it's not huge. It's not like massive, guys. It's just that we're in the range, right? So it's gonna struggle. There you go. There's the dip and rip. There we go. So they ran the stops. Got to find a way of getting back in. Right back to the 80s. Again, we're going to wash around here because remember, this big grey box is the previous week level. This is, here we go, folks. All right, I've got to find a way to get back into this now. Exactly. All right, we're going to absorb and try and go up because this is what we're trying to do right now. This is massive. You can see this node here that we talked about. Look, we just held that node and we're trying to go upside. Again, they're making this very, very hard work today. So there's a 500. So if you were still in that, you got 500. And we got to see what next now. Can we keep lifting for previous day high? ES again rejecting that New York Open. ES is making this very, very, very hard work for us, folks. Alex stopped out, rebuy him. Yeah, I mean, that's it, isn't it? I mean, I was looking for a rebuy down there, but I mean, it's kind of hard when we do a move from 41. We do a 50-point move in, what, probably 5 seconds. Kind of hard to get involved. You can see these nodes starting to develop. So this still becomes, where's my grey box gone? I just delete it. This is still very, very important here, right? This very, very, very important here. So this is our current node. This bigger grey box is previous week rotation, right? If we think about that, right? This is previous week's rotation. This is what we're rotating in, right down here. If we get through that, we're going to come and attack up here to 600. If we get through 600, I'd say we're kind of thin and it's got a very good chance of coming up here. All right. So this is what I was trying to, those in Discord will know. Yesterday, I was trying to time this long down here for this move here, because now we have the chance to do this move here. And up here, I will be thinking about the sell. Okay. Because this is our naked POC. This is where a lot of buyers, you can see it here. A lot of buyers got stuck last week and the week before. It's a 2-week POC. I think there's a good chance to come up here and then resell it down. So I'm looking to try and get this long up here to resell. That's what I've been looking for the last 2 days. Hopefully that makes sense to you all. Here we go. Sellers coming in and getting themselves caught. So again, that 80s is massive. All the time we're above 80s, there's a good chance of a lift here. ES, again, that New York Open, I cannot tell you how big it is on the New York Open. If ES get through that New York Open and base is above it, we have a shot here. If ES can get through that New York Open and base above. And we've got to hold 80s here, really, on NQs. Because the sellers have come in a few times now. They've got a chance to hold 80s. And if they hold 80s, we've got a chance to really move this thing higher today. So right back into the 80s. If they lose 80s, we go the lower grey box. But we're right back into that 80s zone. Watching this carefully. Sellers coming back in, being absorbed so far. They've still got a chance to move down to 65. They're trying to resell this down to 65. Still seeing some absorption here. It's very whippy, right? Both ways on the tape here. So they're trying to move to 1765. Here come the sellers. Here's the 70. There's buyers here at 70. If they lose this, they go 65, 50s. Buyers stepping in. Sellers trying to get aggressive. Still being absorbed down here into 70. Back to the 80. And remember, 80 is where the big sellers have come in. And buyers will want to hold that grey box. 60 to 50 still the level, or 60 to 48 still the level. ES still cannot get a closure through the New York Open. It's what it's trying to do. It keeps rejecting VWAP. Just make sure you understand that. ES keeps rejecting that VWAP. And 660 SPY shoved up, sold it. The 200 days up there as well. Well, yeah, I mean, supply intraday is at 500 from that cluster of buyers this morning, all right? Intraday, right? Your supply is here. But we didn't finish the move up. and we're still holding key levels. It really depends what they're going to do with ES here, I think, and what they do with this level. It's not to say it can't come all the way down here. It absolutely can. But at the moment, they're holding nicely. But again, we're news driven. We haven't taken liquidity of the high. ES opening this candle up at VWAP. Can it get this candle to push through the New York Open? It's trying. It's trying. And if we do, we've got the chance of the breakout here. They're going to make this very hard. You can already see how they position these candles, trying to make it very, very hard for traders to participate in this. No, I'm not in anything. I've already been long in this and then taken it off on that last dip, and then we ripped without me. So what are you going to do? All right, ES still can't get through the VWAP and New York Open. Back down to this same core level. This is a big, big level here. Still seeing some absorption here. 80 is the big level where sellers keep stepping in. If we start getting above 80s in basing, they've got the chance to move higher. There's the 80s. Can we now squeeze? Watching this very, very closely. Where's that? There we go. They want to complete the move. Good absorption now on ES. It's got to get back through the New York Open, though. We've got a chance of going here. It's just whether they're willing to do it today. Are we going to have a rotation day, or are we going to finally have a move in this market to come and clean out some stops on NQ? Who knows? The more buyers that come on here without getting the move, the more dangerous it's going to be. You'd be surprised saying, like, we need positive data. I mean, I said that in the news report, but you'd be surprised if too many shorts came in, all right, sub 24,000, sub 24,200. All you need is a little bit of a lift to take some stops out, and you're going to get those shorts starting to cover, and that will cause a squeeze up. It doesn't mean the main trend becomes up. It means that, you know, we get a pullback leg, higher time frame. Here we go, threat through the 80s. Watching the 500s. If they pop 500s, I think there's a very good chance of 550 today. And if we get through 550, like I said, I think we're going to go 600s. If we go through 600s, we're going to go 7s. And if we go through 7s, we go basically 9s, 880s. Doesn't have to happen in one day, but I think higher time frame, that is what makes sense right now. If we just think about this, think about the amount of guys who took puts and shorted here, and then Trump came out with that news, and now we're basing above into the 61 fib. We have a breakout potential here in this old node. It's a very strong possibility. If too many sellers came in here and here, it doesn't need to be mega bullish. It just needs bullish enough to pop the stops, and this can start to happen. And then that would be the second leg, which is likely to be sold. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. You don't have to agree with me. I'm just trying to explain what I'm looking for and why. It's not like I'm uber bullish in the market. It's just that the market doesn't go straight up or straight down. But I would say Monday morning, other than whoever was the inside trader, you probably had a lot of people the other side of that trade, which is why you had an 800 or 900 point move higher on the NQ, right? You had a lot of shorts playing for that higher time frame breakdown. Remember, we left balance. We left balance since September, right? Here's 500. If this breaks, we probably start lifting. All right, so this is the cluster where you had those buys from this morning. If we get through this, then they're going to be comfortable. And then I think we lift 520, 525, 535, and 550. So if you're long, that's what you're long for. Look, this grey box held again. All right, and you're trying to see this move here, and you want to TP some out into here all the time it's holding. What you would not want to see is that. For this would then cause this rotation down here, and that will probably be then us ruined for the day in a D-shaped profile. But at the moment, my bias is to try and get up into here, but I'm not in anything. We know some buyers came in here this morning, and their average price is 500 or 499 actually, 499. Right, these guys right here. All right, but this guy here, 499, 50 lot, 44 lot. You get above him, he's very comfortable. Okay, yes. New York Open here. If it gets some bases above, it's going to help this market move higher. I'll remind you, MAG very, very green this morning. It's 499,500 levels massive. It's also previous week open, by the way, folks. Here we go. Here's the squeeze. So they're going for it. So if you're in this, you look good. We're into an imbalance here, 509 to 511. Get through this. Value area high on the day for me is at 520s, and then you've got initial balance high. And if we get above that, let's just think about it. It's a big if. Let's think about if we do an expansion model. Right, the 1.5 would take us right into this gamma zone at 620, which 620, remember, is the top of previous week's next node. All right, so previous week current node is here, and the next node is here. So if it's a big if they do IB expansion model, this would be a good target. And guess what? Above that, it's the next node. All right, so they're measuring this out really well. It's just the question is, can they hold this? TP1, TP2, if you got very lucky, you got up there today. I wouldn't guarantee that today by any means. If we can't get the IB expansion model, then we're just going to go range to range, and it's going to look pretty awful, all right, because we haven't swept this side. This makes it quite dangerous for the longs, all right, and this can happen. And if we lose this, this can happen. And if we bid that, this can happen. And like, you get the point, very much like yesterday. And if we zoom out, well, guess what? It's what we've already done a lot of. Okay, so it would be no change to what we're capable of doing. Guess what? ES got above that New York Open and instantly failed again. It cannot find a bid. What's weak today? Let me check the sectors. Energy. It's the only thing lagging. Oh, consumer defensive. Okay, so like Walmart and stuff like that, and energy down. Everything else, other than MU, we're pretty green across the board. What are the big losers today? Waste management, Lamb Research, MU. Yeah, all the energy guys. All the oil, everything else, very green. Which pair is this? Am I serious? It's not FX, so it's not a pair. And yes, I am serious. It's NQ. Okay, if they wash this, they're going to come back down into this zone again. Right, be very, very careful here that they don't do one of these and then might offer that. I'll be really interested. If they do that and clean out and then claim, I'm really interested. I want to be very careful bidding in something like this, don't you? Like 1, 2, they might have one more go of it. You want to be very careful. It's still very bullish. Look, we're absorbing the flow zones. You can see we're starting to absorb. But your location for the long is not ideal. I'm not in a trading position, Matt. And why do you want me to hold your hand all the time? All right, when we call it all before the market. Why do you want to copy? Why are you not here to learn? Why do you have to say stupid shit like that? What do you want? Here's my trade today. That's it. That's it. That's all there is. There's nothing else. Man, it's so weird. Like, I try and separate myself from the other streams by actually teaching you, actually calling exact levels, and still you need me to do the trade for you. There's already guys who are like getting clapped because they try and follow me. You can't follow me in momentum trading. If you try and like copy me in momentum trading, especially when I'm playing exact levels and I'm saying, hey, I'm going to get long. Okay, I'm in now. If you've not listened to me saying, hey, there's a guy trapped at 84s, we're playing his pain, then you're not learning and you're going to be 6 seconds plus behind and you're going to get caught. That's why you shouldn't be following people. You should be learning. Okay, big buyer keeps stepping in here at 68. All right, need to be very aware of that delta at 68. All right, it's a 339 lot delta. It's actually 68.5. Right, 468.5. big level. They start losing 468.5. We're going to move to 55s and 47s pretty quick. Huge delta level there. Huge, huge, huge. So we're right into him now. If we start losing this, he's going to be in a little bit of pain. You can see it on the right-hand side of my tape on my DOM. There's a 340, now 344. It keeps building. 468 is huge. 468 is absolutely huge. If he gets in pain, you probably get a nasty little wash down to 47. So the biggest seller in pain today is right down at 402. The biggest buyer is comfortably okay, but he's at 468. So just think about that. If we lose 468, we might do a rotation. They are big, big players on the book. They're not a joke. And we need to get back above 480s for the sellers to get a bit scratchy. Why don't you long when big buyers show up? Well, if a big buyer is on the tape, just because he's on the tape at that level doesn't mean we're going to move higher, does it? Because if he's on the tape at that level and we've not moved higher and he's an aggressive buyer, what does it mean? It means there's passive selling at that level. All right, watching this very carefully. They're trying to squeeze again for the 500s. See if we can get involved here. There's the 5s again. Again, ES got to get through that New York Open. I feel much more comfortable if we get through that New York Open. His 5s. Next pullback holds. I'll consider getting long. This is supply here. Again, little imbalance above into 11s. So poke above 5s. No acceptance there. If we hold above 80s, I'm interested. Above this node. 88's really above this node. If we hold 80s, I'm interested. It's not ideal though. Again, we'd have to lean on that buyer at 68s to absorb the tape. My worry is if he exits and is not there anymore, the flush under him will be nasty. All right, let's have a go here then. Let's have a go here then. Come on, ES. Get through that New York Open for us. Here we go, 500s. I'll add into this if we start ripping faces here. Here's the imbalance into 11s. Beautiful. Be very careful because this is the third drive. I really need to see this come and take out all the liquidity above now. Do I think we take London High? Yeah, absolutely. It's what this is, right? I think this is what we should have done this morning and we didn't, all right? Which is why this isn't an A+ short. We're coming back for it now. And if we hold above this, we have this shot here. We're now back into previous week's value area. So we might leave this node and go to this node, ideally. Ideally, we leave this node and we come to this node and we're going to exit. We're going to exit 50 plus of our position here. If we base above and hold, I can re-entry. I'm going to exit a ton of our position here. And if we got lucky, we get up here today. Probably not. Most of my position will be unloaded here if we get up there. Still failing up there. Fucking ES cannot get through that New York Open, man. It's driving me mad. Back down to my entry here. Look at that. Straight back down to the entry. Can't get through it. Oh. If we come under that big buyer, I'll cut it. I'll give it a little bit of room. Good absorption there at 80s. Still willing to hold. If we come under 68, I'm out. Because if we come under 68, we probably revisit 46s very quickly. It's the third drive, though. This is very risky now. Really, you want them to hold 90s now. You don't want them to revisit 80s. They've already revisited 80s. You'd want all dips to hold into 90s now, and you just want expansion. Okay, ES, New York Open again. Come on, ES, please. Find a bid. Let's go and clean out these highs. Let's at least take liquidity one side today. Please, market. Can we take liquidity one side? Otherwise, it's going to be second day in a row doing this dance. Got to hold 90s now. Don't want to revisit 80s. Got to hold 90s now. We've built a shelf there. 92s, very close. I'm not going to wait for 80s again. Moving my stop up here to be protective. Good hold of 90s so far. Got to get back above 500s, and then we've got a shot, but it's looking worse. You'll be very, very aware. The longer this takes, the more likely this is, okay? If they don't come and clean this out, they'll come back down, trap shorts, and then come back for it. So they've got to do the move soon, which is why I've moved my stop up now. I'm trying to protect 90s now. I lock something in no matter what, because if they can't finish the move after uno, dos, tres, they will come and sweep everyone, and then they'll come and try and do it after. Yes, I know London and Asia lows haven't been taken on NQ. Neither of the highs, and both of the lows have been taken on, and the highs have been taken on ES. Good hold of 90s there, like we talked about. Now you'd really want them to print above 500s. Now you want them to hold 500s where those buyers got stuck, because they've done a lot of work to hold 80s and then to hold 90s. And really, you'd want them to hold 500s now. And if they hold 500s, they really just need to shove this higher and quick. So I've moved my stop up under that swing at 90s, and I know it's very aggressive, but I just don't want it to come back to my entry. So I'll take a win here no matter what. And ideally, the win will be much higher at 550, 600, 650, but we'll see. Yeah, ES right at that New York Open again. It's very, very tight. The more they struggle here, the worse this the harder this trade's going to be, which means they might need to do the sweep. Okay, out of this now for me. I'm just not going to play. I'm going to let this sweep. If they can't hold this, oh, you fucks. If you do me by a tick, I'll be upset. They need to do this. Otherwise, they're going to come and do this. Very tight here. ES is just being a little bitch. Has anyone got a dart pool print on SPY at 10.25 for a move to 660.50, which ES doesn't have? I've got a dart pool print on the SPY. It's really, what the fuck is going on there? Is that real? That can't be real, surely, on the spiders. Yeah, you all have it? What do you have it on? On TradingView, or do you have it on anything else? Was that on TradingView? Was that a legit print? All right, 500s. They're trying again here. They are trying to complete this move up to 550s. But again, it's so tight. ES again, New York Open. It's really struggling to get above and base the New York Open. Any break above and base the New York Open would look good. If they can't do it, then I think you're probably going to get that sell down, retrap shorts, and then come back again for it. Let's see, though. They're trying, folks. They're really trying to get that move. Here you go. You look better now. You look much better now. They're cleaning out the liquidity above for the first time today. You're going to get the move now. IB high coming up. Globex coming up. Previous day high coming up. They should not fail now. Now they've held 500s. They really should not be failing up here into each of these levels. They should just go and print and take them all out. And then you can hold runners. If you didn't stop out like me, you can hold runners for the move up here. So your first TP is this, and your second TP is up here. And I would say don't be a dick for a tick like I was earlier today on your first TP, all right? I didn't take profit up there, and I added this, and I still didn't take profit, and I took a smaller win than I could have. I don't know how you're calling a failed auction at the high when we haven't attempted anything yet, and we've been up here for like 5 seconds and we're basing. Like, there's no failed auction here yet. Like, what are you trying to say? Failed auction versus IB? Give it a moment to shake out at least before you're going to call that. Like, we're still absorbing so far. Like, I still think there's a good chance of a sweep and then a go higher. This is definitely where we want to go. We're now above. Remember the prints earlier the buys earlier are at 5s, all right? I still think there's a chance to do this, which is why I'm not long right now. But to call this a failed auction, I don't know how you can call that a failed auction. There's no failed auction up here yet. We haven't broken down. We haven't trapped enough liquidity yet. We haven't done anything. Right, if ES holds this New York open pullback now, it's got a shot. Look at the difference. Like ES right in the middle of its range, and NQ, the relative strength, is why we want it to be long. Can we just please take out the liquidity at the highs, NQ? It's a good hold of 500-ish. Let's see. Come on, all the liquidity stacked up there for them to go and swipe all the way up into 35s. Here they go. Come on, complete the move, for fuck's sake. Can you just do it once? Can you get my traders paid once today, please? Right, this swipe up here is what you're looking for. And then if they base above this, remember, we talked about the expansion model. It would line up pretty well today with next targets. You're going to need ES to play games, but 600, I'd say 580s is the start of the next pull. So I'll be looking for 580s up to 620s if you get the expansion model. Again, don't be a dick for a tick like I was earlier. I have no position in this. I've had a couple attempts at it today. Yeah, ES is trying to hold the New York Open. If we get a flush back down, I'm going to re-scoop long. If we do a little stop run back down, all right, if we build out, where's my channel? Do I have a channel? Do I add a channel? There we go. Right, if we do a little stop run, flush out all the weak hands, I'll be looking to see if we hold here, absorb, and I'll add here for this move. If we don't take this out. If we already take this out, I'm not interested in that move. You look good. You look really good. His value area high, so there's the 20s. Above this, there's not much excess. I think you can really start doing some damage above 520s. Yes, great hold of New York Open. Exactly what you want to see. Please, market, go and take the fucking liquidity for the team today. You are being a pain in the butt. You like the trade if it does that, Michael? What if, sorry, dog's drink, or what if it does what I'm talking about? If it comes back, if it leaves the liquidity, yeah, I mean, it'll be a nice trade. If we leave this, come down here, swipe out weak hands, offer a bid, reclaim, there'll be a small position here, add back in here, take the liquidity, and then we're well positioned. I don't know if it's going to do it, but that would be very nice if it would do it. Ugly PA. I don't know if it's ugly. It's just not very efficient. Why not the Tyson trade? You guys are too obsessed with one trade now, right? We're still moving up into it. We are still above 500 for now. We are still, look, you got to understand, we're still above these guys, all right? And we're definitely above this pool of sellers, all right? Technically speaking, until we're under this pool of sellers, all right, we can still squeeze higher because these guys are lifting the tape because they're in pain. If we break here, remember, these guys' stops are probably high of day. If we break high of day, there will be a squeeze. If we come underneath, all right, 880s and below, then we can think about everything else. But until that point, understand who's in control and who's not. All right, back under 500s now can cause that rotation back down to be absorbed again. But again, it's very, very tight. And you guys are just too obsessed. Like, it's because you're watching probably some other trader on Twitter who keeps talking about the initial balance does this, but he doesn't understand who's stuck and when they're stuck and when that trade will work and when it won't work. All right, make sure you're learning from someone who actually understands order flow if they're going to play an order flow technique. Just saying, oh, we came up to the IB high, we have to fail. Fucking bollocks, mate. All right? It depends where the sellers and buyers are stuck. So much shit going around about IB at the moment because fucking it's like a virus like ICT now. Everyone wants to talk about it. All right, let's see if we get this trap. People have learnt it for 5 seconds. I'm not talking about you guys. People have learnt it and now they want to talk shit about it. It's just like, just stop, man. Just stop your nonsense. Right, hopefully we get this trap. It needs to come lower for me. We've done a small internal sweep here. I would really like this down into here and then a rebid. All right, so I'll be watching here. See how we act at 80s and 68s. And then maybe 60s. Need to come lower. Back to the 5s. And I want to see how we act at 80s, 68s, and sort of 50s, 55s. If we can come down there and wash people and I see absorption and sellers getting aggressive being absorbed, then I'll be interested in playing the long back up. So buyer at 5s. We're under 5s. I want to be a dip buyer in this if we can come back down a little bit. Still rotating 5s. Want it lower. Ideally want it lower. Another hold of New York open there on ES. Buyers come in here at 5s again. I really need this lower to perk my interest to try and get along. I do not want to buy the top of this current week value area high into the top of the node of the previous week. I'm going to need a wash here and a trap low to get me interested. Here we go. So 500, buyers getting stuck again. Come on, come back down, and then let's see what's what. I want to see how we operate into 80s. Remember, 80s, 68s, 55-ish are the kind of levels I'm interested in seeing how we act when we get there. If we don't take either side today, it's going to be a real pain in the butt. Here's the 5s. Didn't quite get to the 80s, which is what I'd like to see. Options decay day, yeah, it could very well be. VIX at 25s again. If VIX loses 25s, we got a shot of moving lower. On VIX, I mean, so the market can lift. Watching that very carefully because we're in positive gamma on the 0 DTEs on VIX at the moment. And if we lose 25s, we go neutral. We can get back down to 24, 22, 21. Still not through the 500. Still waiting to see if we can come back down to these 80s and 69s below. ES just held the New York Open again. I think there's a little micro flush coming soon. And ideally, we can trap on the flush. Here we come. Here comes the move to 80s. Some aggressive selling. Can we move a little bit lower than this? Come on. Come a bit lower. Here's 80s. Looking for this to wash a bit more than 80s, ideally. Ideally, we come down to sort of 68s. Maybe even wash those guys out down to 56s. And then I can think about what's what. Is the 80s levels. This is VPOC for me. Current week value. Can we see 350? I mean, it's unlikely. It's not impossible. It's unlikely. It's definitely not impossible. Because it'd be in this grey block. You'd have to let go of all of this first. I'd be first thinking about, like I talked about, I'd be thinking about the trap, right? So they've grinded this up. I'd be thinking about a move into here, which finds absorption to complete this move. If we lose this, then, you know, there's no long, right? But that's what I'd be thinking about, either here or here, some kind of trap where shorts get too aggressive and they get absorbed for the rotation. If we lose this, that's out the question. Totally out the question at that point. What market makers doing today? Well, they're just not risk on and they're not risk off. All right, if you just look at the H1, like it's the same levels the last few days. All right, here we go, 68s. So this is starting to perk my interest now. 68s and maybe even 55s, and let's see if we trap down here or not. It's a big question whether we're willing to trap down here or not, or if we're just going to lose this tape. 68s, through the 68s, there's a little imbalance down here, and will they visit 55s? Bid showing up there, not too much yet though. Can we come a bit lower? Retest 80s, can you come lower? More absorption there, can you come lower though? No. Back to the 80s. Which is VPOC. I'd like to see this sweep the internals, so that's why I'm asking for it to come a bit lower first. Come on. ES into VWAP here. So we're into a position where it's, I think we're going to find a bid soon if we're going to do the trap, all right, through the 80s. If we start basing above 80s, then we're going to test 90s and then 500s. I really want to see, you can see that 68 became important, right, which is where the buy was from earlier. I'm almost tempted to wait for a 56 test at the moment, but I'm watching very carefully here. If I have to join, I'll join. This is the kind of move that we're looking for. All right, so it was the test to 68s. They found a bid at 68s. We saw absorption down there at 68s. We're right back at VPOC for the day. And we'll see if we lift to 500s now. I want to get long. I just wonder if there's one more flush down to 55s first to come and clean out a bit more liquidity. Still nothing. If they protect 68s, I'm interested, but I'd rather they came to 55, 56. Somewhere in here. An internal sweep underneath these would be good. Let's see if we can see absorption. I want to undercut these, see some absorption, and then go. But they're already trying to absorb in front of 68s. It's where that buyer came in earlier. The big buyer we talked about, right? It's right here. You can see this buyer here. 68s, all right? And we absorbed there earlier. We've just absorbed there again. So it's the same level of... Right, are you going to give me an opportunity to do something now? Right, same level. So we might get a 68 to 500 rotation here. And if we hold 80s, we've got a shot. It's the kind of play I'm looking for. Remember, VPOC now 80s. Any absorption of 80s is interesting. Any absorption of 68s is interesting. I'm more interested if we go 55s, but we're starting to see it now. Tape's trying to shift here. They're trying to lift it. ES held VWAP, reclaim New York open. Still no position for me yet. It's very tempting to put something on at the moment, but I'm trying to be super patient here and watch 80s and watch 68s. Is the 80s test. Remember, buyers are caught at 500 right now. Sellers is caught at 80. Well, those are the two levels: 68, 500, and 80. So 68, 80, 500. Those are the first three levels we're looking at in the current rotation. And we lose the bid, 55s is what I'm looking at. That would be a really good trap down there. But at the moment, we're starting to hold these 68s. They rebid 80s here. All right, got to get long. You've got to come and fill me long now because of what I've just seen there. I don't think I'm going to get the fill down at 55, 56s. Can you pick me up at 68? That's heavy. Maybe I will get filled at 55s. On 68 again, still didn't pick me up. I cancelled that order. I don't like what I'm seeing on the tape here now because now I'm wondering if we can come 55s. Can we come 55s? This guy, 56. Where's that seller? 46. How can you do that? Don't recover 68 and not come 55. Oh, God. I'm not going to get picked up. Not going to see it. Just patient. See if we come back in and trap now. ES into VWAP. I'd say if we lose these grey boxes, though, we come right down to the bottom side of the range. If we lose this and do this, this is still very possible into here today. And remember, we left this and we left that. Fantastic. NQ being really nice today. Not. Okay, here we go. Into 55s. So maybe we get VWAP here in 55s and New York Open. It's the first kind of hint of it. Yeah, we're back in the node. Yeah, exactly. If we lose the node, we wash right back down, remember. But it means we didn't get an exit either at the highs. Right, here we go. It's VWAP them. If they reject this node now, we get very, 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 very washy, very aggressively. All right, just be aware of that. We can go right back down to the lows. If they start rejecting this node, it's night time. So they've got to pick this up and pick it up soon, and they don't look like they want to do it. So we're just going to have a day where we don't take liquidity either side at the moment, by the looks of it. Can come right back down to value area low now if they reject that node. Seriously, NQ, we're not going to take any liquidity today. Back to VWAP. Do they reject this VWAP now? Or do we go reclaim? I mean, you might as well go value area low at this point. You're just going to defend inside of that. Untradeable. Untradeable without taking liquidity. All right, I'll watch for reclaims. Right back into that key area, 55s. So we washed VWAP, we protected value area low, we didn't quite get there. We're right at the New York Open, and I'd say a reclaim of 68s I'd definitely be interested in, but otherwise they can keep selling this node all the way back down now if they want to be really dirty with it and leave liquidity at the high. Nice wash on ES, really good. I think Scotty's in that right now, looking good for you, mate. Hard to warrant a long now. They had the chance to trap, they didn't do it, they've washed. Are we going to come all the way back down into this next node? It looks like it. It looks like they want 400 now. 430, yeah, the answer will be yes by the looks of it. Here's value area low. And they can test 402s here if they want. Right down into this. Some absorption there. Oh, I don't know what to do with this because we're not taking either side. It's like my worst nightmare at this point. Again, would have been happy to take the short if we took one side out first. We absolutely did not take one side out first. Seriously, this is ugly at this point. Right back into the mid. Right back into the mid. No edge. Yeah, MES or ES. It looks like if you undercut this, Scotty, I mean, you've already undercut that 46. So if you stay heavy here, you've got a chance at 640s again. Just be careful of that 640 level. Value area high to value area low. Yeah, we've already done it. But the relieving the liquidity is gross, both sides, though. ES trading much better. ES, again, this I think the second day in a row, ES traded much better. Took both sides of liquidity, built like a nice move back up to sell into, which is the opposite of what we did on NQ. And we waited for the trap and no trap, so no play. And here we come into the 402s now. It's where sellers got aggressive this morning. And this is going to be big for NQ here on what we do. We've had bids come back in at 27s and they're currently stuck. Sellers this morning were 410, 402s. We get under that, we're going to produce more excess. But at the moment, coming right back to where these bids just were, here's the reclaim. Through the New York Open, they're going to make this impossible to trade. We'll see if we can get back through VWAP or how we act up here. All right. If you're going to sell this, you've got to be very careful. Your midpoint of the range, this is possible now. Again, coming short of everything today by the looks of it. Matt, you're a fucking idiot, mate. You're gone, mate. You're just here talking nonsense. Every day you come back trying to talk shit. The short would have set up if we took the liquidity. We held, like we said, you can take a short under here. We've talked about that all the way back down to here. That's absolutely fine. If you want to take that trade, lots of people are short in that, mate. Where are you? You're gone. Good luck with that. Right, under the 402s, under the 410s, 402s now, and you're seeing expansion back into this grey box. And if they, I don't even know if we come back down for this now, given what NQ's doing. It left this at the high of day, it left it low of day, it left it high of day, it probably leaves it low of day. We probably go into one of these, honestly. We probably see contracting at this point. I can't see it really wanting to go all the way back down to the low, especially when ES just hit that 640, that gamma level. And we're right back to where they just sold the 402s and 410s. And if you get back above those sellers, again, will probably start to cover. So you'd want, if you are in a sell, you'd probably want 402, 410 to stay heavy here. Back into that neutral point. I don't understand why ES and SPY are so far off today in terms of the gamma. What is going on here? First, that's weird, man. They're literally miles apart. Miles apart. They're not even vaguely close. Neutral point is 655 on SPY and it's 6640 on ES. Miles apart. Very rare to see that. The dark pool shouldn't have moved the gamma levels though. The gamma levels shouldn't be affected by that print. Yeah, they're way, way, way off. Way off. VIX held that 25, so it stays in positive gamma. And if it wants a closed gap, it will come to 27s, which would be very aggressive. It would be aggressive sell if we see that. So nothing's changed then. This is day 3 inside this range, the current weekly value range. We can't get continuation out of 500. We're back. We're now losing that node. And you'd have to say staying heavy now versus 420 will release the trade all the way back down into these. So they had the chance here above 420. Where's my 420? This. All right, this is a previous week rotation. They had the chance to come and clean out. If they cleaned out and stayed heavy, this would have been an A+ short, same as this morning. If they cleaned out down here and found the bullish move, this would have been an A+ long, same as we would have wanted this morning. Instead, we've left everything, both sides, and we're just rotating. These are my least favorite markets, especially when we're going to leave liquidity. We're not just rotating. We're rotating, leaving higher time frame liquidity. He's already been blocked, man. He's been removed. Don't worry about it. Just no trade position for me. Like, I cannot trade if it's not going to give me the setup I want. I just ignore it. There's nothing I can do. All I can do is stick to my rules. If it doesn't want to set up, it doesn't want to set up. That's just the end of it, right? How is the National Guard going to help the airports, Trump? I don't understand that. They are not going to do the bag collection or check people's passwords. Here's passports even. Here's the flush. Jesus Christ. All right, so they're coming right down for it. They didn't like that National Guard comment. They really didn't like that National Guard comment. All right, here you go. All right, previous day value area high. Globex low, now about to be taken finally. And maybe you close the gap on ES. It looks really good, Scotty, for 606. 655 here on spiders, very, very big level. And we might come all the way down here and close this gap now at this point. Oh, absolute madness. Madness being unable to get an entry on this, but there we go. That was a big old flush, that. Well, if any of you are in the short from up there, where we didn't reclaim, you look good. And your TPs, you've already hit TP1, TP2, TP3, TP4. If you got really lucky, you'd come down into this. But this is, for me, this is now untradeable. I cannot chase this. It's very, very heavy. Can't chase it. And I'm very cautious about thinking about a long now at this point, because the momentum's very heavy. 5-day moving average now tagged on ES and spiders as well. Your big gamma level just got tagged 655 on the SPY. If we stay heavy here, you've got room all the way back down to 650, but they can close the gap. 653s, I'll be watching for close the gap on the spiders. On ES, I'll be watching for closing the gap at 606s. On the Qs, you've got a long way to go. Long way to go, all the way down to 215s if they're willing to do it, which I'm not sure about. Here's previous day point of control. All right, so this is fair value from yesterday, and you just question whether they're willing to go lower or not at this point. If they squeeze this back up, back through the initial balance, it'll be a failed auction if we come back through the initial balance again. I don't like that trade if they don't come and take out the liquidity on at least one of them first. Here's the move back to towards the IB. Here's your initial balance. If they squeeze through that, we can come right back to 370. All right, so they will need to sell this to move back lower. Again, that gamma level, 655 on SPY, got absorbed. We dunked under it, reclaimed it. I'll be watching very carefully at this IB. If they start squeezing this IB, that candle dropped down. We were very, very thin. We can come right back up to 70s very quick for those of you who are short. You'd want them to resell this IB. Good retest of IB there. So they're staying heavy here for now. Again, you've hit previous day point of control. You've hit previous day value area high. Very sensitive areas here. You should have been covering most of your position here. They're going to stay heavy. You can potentially get the gap fill, but I would be very cautious today. They've shown an unwillingness to complete moves. where's the liquidity? We're right into it. The next grey box, right? The weekly levels are here, here, and here. All right, so we've lost 420s. We've traveled into the next weekly level. If we squeeze here, you have got a shot of squeezing right up to 370s. Those of you who are short, just be aware of that. We can come right back up to here. All right, that is an emotional dump. We can come right back up to here. Be very careful. And if we're going to go in a rotation day, that's the kind of thing it will probably do. But remember, think about the previous week. I always keep talking about this. Unfortunately, we haven't swept anything up here. All right, here's the previous week node. All right, we were looking to complete this and then maybe a trade back down here. We've lost the 420s under this node. We've come back down to this next node now. We're finding a bid here. We might come and revisit 420s if it needs to. It is just a rotation. I don't think they have a clue what to do with it, honestly. So I'll be watching here to see if they lift all the way up to 70s, because that was a big sell from 70s. And you basically hit all the options targets on the ES. Here comes the squeeze all the way back up to 70s. And if they want to come and test 402s, they will. So you're back inside the initial balance now. I will consider a short if we lift here and fail. Got to come higher. I'll watch 70s up to 402s. But want to be careful because we have relative strength in NQs and it might be very unwilling to close its gap today. Let's see. Can we offer me something to trade today? 90s. Yeah. Want a little lift up to sell into. If they reclaim 410s, I'd say actually even 402s. If they reclaim 402s, there's no sell. There's no resell. It's just going to be one of those tapes that just goes straight up, straight down. Or straight down, straight up, it will be. We'll see. I'm going to watch to see. I'm going to watch 70s to 10s or to 02s, sorry, to see if there's a resale opportunity here. If you called it to the lows, congratulations. It's one thing calling it. Hopefully you got it. All right, we called it. If it came under 420s, it can rotate. But, you know, for me, there was no opportunity to play it. So I'm going to look to see if there's an opportunity to play this push up, which can be sold into. On a bit higher here. Here we go, 70s. I'm watching this. Can we lift a little bit higher to sell? I'm looking for a resell here, and I'm going to have to watch that seller who just came in at 50s. That's starting to look a bit better. Come on lift a little bit higher here. Absorption here. Just one swipe would be really good. '70s. Can you get to 90s or no? 90s or no? You willing? Nope. Here we go. Come on. There you go. 90s, watching 02s. If they break 02s, there's no sell. They're just going to go straight back fucking up. No sell. This is just the market. This is all we've got right now. This is all we've got right now. Just a V-shaped recovery off those lows. Can't sell this. We can come right back into the midpoint of the range. So we're just going weekly to weekly to weekly to weekly. They might want to come all the way to 420s now at this point. It's very hard to warrant taking a trade at this point on anything. Yeah, we know it's a news market. Well, 402 is rejected there, but it's risky to think about something up here at this point. There was a rejection there at 402s though, and to 410s, which was the extreme. But you got to wonder now, do they just go 420s? That 655 SPY was massive, wasn't it? And if you are going to sell this, you'd want to be very careful at 350s. I think it's beyond my appetite at the moment. We're just going to squeeze one way. Man, this fucking market. Untradeable. That is untradeable. Absolutely untradeable. There's no way I'm just going to buy this weekly level down here. We didn't hit, I mean, we came into point of control. But seriously, like no return into buy and no soft like buyers getting trapped to sell. Same as here, like we broke this. I guess you could argue that was a sell, but it's so fast. Once it just decides, it's just so quick. Those sellers from earlier, I'm going to show you. It's the same guys from earlier. We're coming into these guys here. 402, 410s. If they sell this and value area low, you'd want to watch 350s. If they absorb 350s, if you are on a sell side, you'd need to get out if they absorb 350s. Here's the 80s. They're trying to sell it back down to 350s, but they are absorbing the tape up here. Oh, man, I don't think I can trade it. Even watching ES, I'm just like, I don't think I can trade it. We absorbed 5 days. We went through all the 0 DTEs. We reclaimed 640s. We got a view up above us. Same on ES, except on the SPY. Except the gamma's way off on the SPY. So we came back down to the 5 day. We hit the 655s. We've reclaimed it. I want to sell this back down, but it just feels so risky into this grey block. I'm going to need to see it exit this. I see another sell as well, mate. Like, I see the same, but my worry is that 350 level. And the reaction, all right, this reaction was pretty big. Off previous day value area high, previous day point of control, weekly level, we didn't close the gap. I'm thinking about the sell here as well, but I'd need to see something like this for confirmation, and I'd need to respect 50s, right? I have to respect the guy at 50s, right? At 51s, wherever he is. Because if they absorb 50s, they're going to do a second leg higher, which would be what? It would be weekly to weekly, all right? It will be this weekly node to this weekly node at 420, all right? So they can still do this, and then the sell might be up here. And also, right, we are back inside of value, and we're inside of initial balance, and we can just chop and rotate in here. Now, when have we done that? Oh, yeah, the whole time. Okay, so this is all we're doing. We were waiting to see if the market was willing to clean this out today. It was, for whatever reason, they didn't want to do it. I don't know why they didn't want to do it, but they didn't. Grab the liquidity low, come back for liquidity high. I mean, I'm not ruling it out, like I said. Like, I'm not ruling that move out because we left both sides, right? We've left this side. Like we said, the long here would have been better if we'd done this and then reclaimed. The short here would have been better if we did this and then failed. We've now taken this pull. Maybe we do come for that pull, but I reckon we're going to come for 420s before we make any other bigger decision, because that's the weekly level. I'm trying to not get too zoomed in. Right, if we think about this, again, it's this node to this node that we're seeing, all right? We held this node, we broke out. We came to the top of this node. We didn't take the liquidity. We washed down back into this node again. Remember, this is previous week. We found a bid here. We're probably going to come back into 420s. All right, they are big weekly nodes, folks, like massive, massive, massive previous week nodes, which is why I'm very cautious about trading now, because intraday is very hard. Other than that first trade today, where I didn't really lock enough in, there's not been much else to do. Here we go. So 420, 430. So this is the old weekly level. And if they don't reject this, then I'd say we do go back up to the highs. Is VWAP up again? So back into this weekly grey box. And I'd say now, if dips hold 400s, 402s, buyers really take control for that real big shove up. So sellers will want to sell against this sort of 420 level, 420, 430. Buyers will want to hold dips into 400 and 389s or 390s. And that's your rotation. And that's the fight between lower time frame and higher time frame right now. That is, yeah, the Tyson trade. Yeah, you're right. Failed auction, back into VWAP. Absolutely. Just happened again. They are still absorbing this. You're a braver person than me if you think these are nice trades. I think these are scary, man. Like, this wasn't too bad. In fairness, maybe that was a missed opportunity. But this, man, is like, you can't do fuck all with that. I'm sorry. Like, you can't. Well, at least I can't. I don't play edge like that to edge without some form of retest and hold, without some decent excess. I mean, the best excess we had, it's so small at the lows at 92s. It was very, very small. Yeah, it's beyond my appetite. It's beyond my appetite. It's the best way of putting it. Still absorbing here. Wild. Absolutely wild tape. Straight down, straight up, like we talked about. We're going to go all the way back up now. Absolute fucking madness. Untradeable. Untradeable. It's almost back at New York Open. We're over New York Open already. The fuck is this? Just one way then the other. Without a retest. Nothing to bid on, nothing to sell against. One way then the other. Holding VWAP in the New York Open now. Man, this is insane. I think you probably will see follow through today. If that was the trap, or I remember this morning we said we'd be willing to buy down there. I don't want to buy against like hard momentum like that. And then there's nothing to come back in. I remember we said we'd be willing to buy down here from the pre-market today. We would want to see something like that. We don't really want to just see this. This is why I'm frustrated, right? I'm willing to sell once we clear out. I'm willing to buy once we clear out. But this is not a buy. We can't buy that. I mean, I can't buy that. I can't buy that. I just cannot do that. No way, mate. No way. Do they squeeze high day now? You've got to wonder. You've got to wonder, are they just going to come right back up? Just a straight V shape all the way up and take out this liquidity, which we didn't take earlier. Same as this, which we didn't take earlier. Now we take this. Do we come back up for this? We guess we just left the gap open as well. Schizo market. Why V back up? Just because they obviously wanted those buys on that previous week node we talked about. They wanted to buy previous day value area high, previous day point of control. Remember, this is fair value from yesterday. They were willing to buy this. I mean, but it was just a straight buy, wasn't it? And by the time you're here, you're literally 100 points higher to play this pullback. I mean, I can't do that. It doesn't make sense at that point to do it. Don't know what else to say, folks. I can't do anything with that. All right, I'll use the bathroom and then be back, and then we'll see if something comes in. All right. Well, they're still trying to absorb this. Sellers from this morning, the 403s, they're still absorbing this. I'll be watching how we act at 403, 490, 390, sorry, and 352s. So rejecting, we just went weekly to weekly, and now we have to watch this intraday level here. I guess slim this down a bit. Are they willing to bid on that? If they're willing to bid on that, maybe we move higher again. I don't know. If they're not willing to bid, if they lose 90s, we probably come right back down again. But I've lost the edge in this market here because we're not taking liquidity out. It's very hard to want to bid here. Honestly, it's very hard to want to bid there for me. Right, here we go. It's the test of the 400 and then maybe the sort of 90s that we talked about. If we let go of that, maybe there's a move back down to 350s. So into this intraday level, this grey box. Now, how we act here becomes important. We lose this grey box, then I think there's a move back down to 50s. It's just like, is there going to be a way of trading it? We can still put a higher low in now, and this can also be the lower high versus the weekly level. So we're trading from weekly to intraday, probably back to weekly again. So here's the move back into 400s and 89s, and then we have to watch 89s. If they absorb 89s or anywhere around that, then they're probably going to try and move back higher again. If we lose 89s, we're going to go 50. So I'm waiting to see how we operate at 89s at the moment. Right into these 89s, you can see. If we lose this, we can probably go 50s. There are imbalances down to sort of 67s. So here's 89s, letting go. Do we fail the retest here? Value area low here. I'm waiting to see if we can get short now or get long. Either way, I'm happy to play either way right now, depending how we react. Coming back into value area low on the session. Would love something. Can you give me something, market? If I whisper to you, will you give me something? Right, if you did take that short from the 20s, you better be covering some here, and I'll be watching very closely for a recovery of 89s. If you start seeing it recover 89s, I'll be very, very careful. Because ES is back into that 640, that neutral zone. They might well bid around there. Your next cover point for your short, if you are short, is 50s. But again, be very careful around here. The reason I'm saying that is both sides are absolutely available right now, given what they've done today. So they can do, oh, please let me draw it. They can do this move down to 50s, and then that, and they can do this move all the way back up to highs if they want. Yes, they can absolutely do that. Yes, right into that 640 again, that gamma level. Again, I don't get why SPY is way off today. Way off. Still nothing for me. I just feel very uncomfortable at this point. I don't feel confident at this point, which is very unlike me, but I really don't feel confident in this market. I don't have a read on it right now. Not when we do Vs like that. Very, very dangerous market. Why do I wear glasses? Because I can't see without them. Why does anyone wear glasses? Oh, you think they're sunglasses? They're not. They're just, I talk about this all the time. Look, they're really light. They're like a green lens, but when the light shines on them for you guys, it looks like they're sunglasses. See how light that is? They're not sunglasses, but for whatever reason, when the lights shine on it, they look really dark. Who makes these glasses? They're from Hugo Boss. All right, if you're in this short versus the 90s or from earlier, 50s is coming, and that's the level you want to cover a good chunk into, okay? '50s is where the seller came in earlier, so you want to be watching him, right into this player here. You want to be covering some into him. If they absorb him, he's going to remain stuck, right? So that would be my one thing I'd say. If you took the short from sort of 420s or VWAP or even the breakdown of 90s, you've got to be paying yourself into this guy at 50s. I'm not in anything, as you can see. I'm very, 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 very salty right now. Very salty. Why did I move to California? Because my wife got offered a job. So given that she supported my career for 15 years, I thought it was about time I supported her. All right, here's 50s. And under here, you're going to see weakness back to the IB low. So I'd be paying yourself a decent chunk of money here into 50s, folks. A really decent chunk of money into 50s. And then you can hold now to see if they want to break down. Remember, at the moment, we've found bids. We've swept Globex, we've swept IB. There might well be some bids still down here. We don't know yet. I'm not seeing some, but not a huge amount. But this level here becomes important, as does this, as does gap fill. But you might get some rotation here for a bit now. Wouldn't surprise me. You can see the 50s is important. We're reacting at around 50s at the moment. Yeah, I'm personally considering a move to Austin, yeah. If they hold 50C, you probably get that lift back up to 90s, right, to test that level that you just broke down from. There you go. So the 50s was important, like we talked about. Here's value area low on the session. And if they don't reject this, they're going to lift back up to point of control into the 90s. There you go. So that 50s remained important. That was probably like a 61 pullback. I didn't even check, but I'm going to assume it was 61. Yeah, right into the 61. And what we do now becomes important. Right, so the question is that going to be the higher low, or is this next push going to be sold into? So the question is, what happens here or here? Okay, but this 50s was absolutely vital, like we talked about. So 50s held, probably got 90s and 400s coming up here for a back test. Like I said, I don't trust this market. I don't trust the options that I'm seeing being put in an ES. It's making me very uncomfortable how they've pinned all these here. What level would you be for long? I mean, it's very hard, mate. The momentum is downside. This is what I'm saying. We have swept, all right, Globex and IB. We did come into previous day value and previous day point of control, but this is your gap fill, right? So it might very well still need to do this. I don't know. I don't have a bias here now, because if we zoom out, all right, what would my bias be? All they're trying to do at the moment is scoop above Tuesday. All right, if you think about Tuesday, right, and then we broke, they're trying to play this on Tuesday. If they start losing that, if this becomes trapped liquidity, right, then we're going to move downside pressure into the low of Tuesday. So it's very, very, very difficult right now, because we're in a huge amount of chop. Now, what caused all this chop? It is literally that print from Monday morning pre-market. All right, if we don't have that, we trade very differently right now, but we do have that, and that set the extremes of the market right now. All right, here's 50s again. Again, that 640 on ES, I could keep talking about, is a big gamma level there at 640 on ES, and we've just held 50s again. Again, no position. I just really do not feel comfortable or confident in this market today. I was looking for longs this morning, either from this level, if we'd come down here this morning with a sweep. All right, if you remember back to today, it was either a hold of 420s for a long to clean out the highs, which is what I took, and I added and then took it off for a small win. Right, I refused to play the short down here, and I was like, I'll think about the long down here for that move back up. We didn't get down there. We do the whole move up. I'm forced to try and join 420s again. All right, we talked about maybe they offer that trap and a reclaim. They don't trap. They lose the 420s. All this liquidity gets used as a sell. We come down. We finally clear out Globex lows. We found a bid. V-shaped recovery. Nothing I can do with that. No sell here. No V-shaped recovery. And we're back into the 61. It's very hard for me to warrant a trade at this point. Honestly, it just feels like a gamble at this point for me personally and how I trade. That's me just being honest with you. You're losing 50s now. It's a big sensitive level, this 50s. Nice, JM. Nice, nice, nice. These 640s, again, big level. I use both. I chart on TradingView and teach on TradingView, and I execute on NinjaTrader. And we're really sensitive in this level. Really, really, really sensitive. Yeah, I mean, I agree. The 5-day SMA is soaked all day long. I totally agree with you. And you almost got up to the 200, right? You almost got up to the 200. And the 20. We're not far away. You can see they're still absorbing 50. So I'm waiting to see if we can lift up to 89s and 400 and see if they resell that or not. All right, is what I'm watching, or if they reclaim it and they're just going to go higher. Okay, Rico, you're gone. Just another guy coming in here acting a fool. We don't do that stuff in here, mate. Goodbye. So much liquidity lower if they want to come and clean it out. So here's the move back onto the 90 towards the 90s and towards the 400s. And the question really is, do they resell this or do they reclaim it? All right, if they reclaim this grey box, then you're going to set sort of a higher low. If they sell this, there's still the chance of a rejection to come lower. And I'd be very, very cautious if you are going to trade this. Like, I really do not like how this set up. This is not like an A+ opportunity at all. And you have imbalances all the way up to 410 here as well. So you can see that 50s level from earlier was important, wasn't it? That's why I said you need to cover a lot of your position down into 50s. We got down to a low of 42s, but the 50s was a big level. Here we go. So back into VPOC here. And I'd say from here to 410s is really, really important. If they don't resell this and they reclaim, a bigger squeeze can potentially be on because you're back inside of value. So if you're sell side, you need them to really reject this level in here, and you need a break of this low to wash out all the longs, and then you can get aggressive down into here. All right. Otherwise, if they reclaim this and they start basing above, you're going to leave the sellers who aggressively attack 30s, 50s caught for this lift. And that's me trying to make the best sense of it I can for you guys. This level here is very, very important now. Sell the pops? I mean, maybe. But like, if you're watching ES, you'll understand why I'm very, very cautious here. I can't see me getting another trade in here. I'd love to. I'd love to see this trade lower. Let's see. I would say if you're sell side, you want anywhere from 89 to 410 to reject, and you need a wash under 450. And under that, under 450 and certainly under 331, you've got a real good shot at making new lows. So back in towards the 450 now. You can see this how sensitive it is down here, right? Very, very sensitive down here. If you break under this, you're going to make new lows. Or if you get under 330s, you will. Here's the 450 again. So they keep testing this 450. Big, big level, folks. Potentially setting up for that sell. Try not to go tilt here. I feel a little bit tilty, I'm going to be honest. I feel like I've missed a lot, even though I don't think my setup's come. It's just always frustrating when we don't clean the liquidity and I've tried to play for something. Okay, they held 450s again. Oh yeah, sorry, 24, 350, my bad, sorry, 350. Yes. 350, my bad. So 350 to 90 is the rotation right now. 350 is the level from earlier today. It's where we have sell side delta. And I can tell you how much. 54s is 105. Look at this. If you look at the tape above me. 351 is a 335 lot sell side delta. And then 350 is a 250 lot. So they're big levels. Back to these 50s again. You can't read the order flow above me. I'm sorry. Maybe you're on a smallest chart. Here. All right, this guy here, this is the seller, 351, 335, and you can see below him, 350, 243. All right, this is the block that I'm watching. This is the important block. All right. And it's value area low now as well. No, it's not possible those are spoof orders because those are orders which have already been transacted. Those are market orders. They're not even limit orders. If they're delta, they're aggressive orders. Right, here's the 90 check. All right, so I'd say 90 to sort of 404s. I'd actually say even up to 410s is important. Look at that rejection up there. Jesus fucking Christ. Can this thing make its mind up? No, apparently not. So we're going to just be stuck from 390 to 350. That's what I'm saying. I'm just not confident. There is nothing I can do with this. If they don't know what they want to do, there's no chance I know what they want to do. Look at that, got hammered and then got absorbed at 50s again. If they don't know what they want to do, I certainly don't know what they want to do. It's from 9:30, my friend, the anchor VWAP. All right, 4 minutes left till lunch. Man, what a miserable day. What a miserable day. And we're low on the likes. Can we get up to 1,200 likes, please, at least? And then we'll do some giveaways. Here's the check of 90s again. Your levels are different to mine. Maybe your tick data is different. I'm not really sure, mate, why they're different. Couldn't tell you. Maybe because I pay for tick data. When does the live finish? In a couple minutes. Okay, so testing into the 90s towards 410s, and they will need to set a lower high here, the sellers, otherwise they're going to get caught. And ES just held those 640s like we talked about, and it's right back towards the VWAP again. So the rotation continues here. I really don't know what to do with this, folks. Yes, I have the premium account or whatever it's called, which is tick data. You get tick data with it. So that I can have footprints and everything else, right? All right, so you can see we just tapped the 90s, rejected the 90s, back to this midpoint. We might come back to the 50s now. So if you're short, you want to be short versus 90s, and you want to be covering some into 50s. And if we go above 90s, your stop needs to be at 410, basically. Can they break down? Is their bid at 70s right now? And can they get under him? Nope. They cannot get under him. This is god-awful. I don't remember a day where we failed to take liquidity as bad as this for a while. And then when we did V-shape both ways. I would flip a coin right now. Like, technically speaking, all the time we're under this, I feel like this is possible. But we're playing the market with relative strength in the Qs. This would be my preferable trade down into here. But if you see this, we can't deny that this is possible because they left the low-hanging fruit, which is fucking annoying. But hey, again, no position for me. It will do whatever it wants to do. I don't want a diddle here. Like, it just feels like a diddle. Right? If we got previous week node here, previous week node here, and we're right in between them. That's how it's set up. All right, how are we doing for the likes? Need 1,200 likes and we do some giveaways. Love to give away an Apex account, yeah. I should remind you guys, because I had one of you message me yesterday. Guys, I will never ask you to message me on WhatsApp or send me money or trade for you or anything like that, okay? If anyone sends you a message like that, they're not me. I will never, ever, ever, ever do that. There are scammers out there pretending to be me right now, right? I will never trade your money or never tell you what to invest in or never do any of that. There you go. Yeah, it was Eddie that messaged me that. Hopefully you didn't get stung, Eddie, but just as a warning. We did put it up on the community page last month. Yeah, scammers running rampant. They are. I've reported so many of them, but it seems like they just keep popping up. Never, ever, never, ever, ever. Back to these 370s. They're still trying to absorb 370s. They're still doing the dance. So under 370s, they test 50s. Like, again, I would prefer to be bearish on this at this point, given what we've done, but it's very hard to warrant that move in my mind. There's a chance of a gap fill. Okay, under the 70s, do they test the 50s again here? Let's say if they stay heavy at 70s, then there's a chance of 50s test, and this can potentially be the bear flag for the breakdown versus this level. Like I said, if you wanted to short up here, but you better be respecting these 50s, all right? Because if they do this and they hold, you're going to be very upset. So you better respect the 50s. And you can see they just don't know what to do in here right now. They are really, really struggling with what they want to do with it. It's like, do they save it and come for the liquidity, or do they finish the move and fill the gap? They don't know. I don't know. They can't get through 90, that's for sure, but they can't get under 50 either. Soon there will be a POC. I mean, POC is already here, 390. You mean it would move down a bit if we keep that? I mean, maybe. It's why we keep rejecting 390. But if we get through 390, we can go 402, 410, and then 420s would be the retest of that level high, or 420, 430 of that grey box VWAP New York Open. Pelosi knows. No, Pelosi definitely doesn't know about this stuff. She knows about individual stocks. She don't know about this stuff. All right, almost there. 1,000 likes, just 200 more likes, folks, and we're there. And we give away a course and an Apex account. Here we go. So rejecting POC again, back down towards the 50s or the 70s. Can I get to the 50s? Break of 50s, and I think you get that move back down to the IB low. And then under that, there's not a huge amount of excess. So you've got a shot of closing that gap. But remember, if you're short, you are trading relative strength in the Qs today. Just as a reminder. Here comes the 50s test. You really want it under these 50s. You do not want to see it keep absorbing here over and over again. This level is the highest volume node in the 0 DTEs for ES as well, just to make it extra hard for you. $59s, can I get you down to 50s? Here they come, they're trying to get you down to 50s. You need to see it under 50s. Under 50s, you got a shot. You have got a shot. I would say I'd be watching 30s and then maybe the gap fill if you got really lucky. But you definitely want to watch these levels here, right? IB low, Globex, previous day value area high, point of control, but maybe you get this gap fill, which is down to here. If you get very, very lucky on the day, all right? So if they are going to give you the follow through, that's what you want. That's what I would lean on if you're confident on it. But this 50 level is massive. Right at it now. You are literally right at that 50s. You can see they're trying to hold it again. There's a bid there, trying to absorb the tape. Yeah, I'm flat. I've been flat for ages, guys. I didn't have any of this. My last trade was somewhere here, looking for that. And then I said I'd wait for the trap if we trapped for a reclaim. And we didn't. We just washed. And then I would have considered the short at 420s here. Maybe I could have considered that, but the way we moved meant if I was going to consider that, I really needed to risk 475s, and I wasn't willing to do that. And we just did this huge break and then came right back to that entry. I didn't really want to short that because the momentum back up was very, very strong, and we didn't leave excess up here. Here you go, letting go of 50s now, finally, for you guys. All right, hopefully this works out. So you want to be TPing a big chunk out into this IB for you. And then see if you can get down into this. If you can get down into that, you'd be really happy. They've just resold 50s really aggressively. So you do not want a reclaim of 50s now, okay? You do not want a reclaim of 50s because they just got very aggressive there, stopping out. If you reclaim 50s, it's very ugly. You've been warned, okay? Here's your 50s. They need to stay heavy here. If you do not stay heavy here, you can go right back up to the 90s again because it can be a sweep to go up, which is gross. But that's the market we're in right now. We're in a gross market. They're still trying to sell this for now. Just be very careful. They can go right the way back up to 90s if it's a sweep to go up. Or certainly to, what's this level here? 70s. All right, so reclaiming 50s. They can squeeze 70s if they want. And if they reclaim 70s, you've absolutely got to be out of it. Got your winner for the day? Oh, lots of you got that then. Did lots of you take that 90s to 50s trade and below and covering some into here? It's a good trade. Like, it makes sense. Took a long time for them to do it. You can hold runners for down here, guys. Like, if you're willing to sit in this, right? Look, you're leaving this node here now, right? This rejected, like we talked about, I would be looking for TP and then down into these if possible. It might not get down there, but if possible, all the time you're under 70s. But if they're just going to be nasty and do an internal sweep and do this bollocks all day, you're going to get pissed off if you don't lock in profit, right? And there you go, right back to 70s again. What a market, man. It's just, I tell you what, it's ES options which are causing the problem. I can literally see it. So there's the 70s chest. And you've got to get back under 50s now, otherwise you're in trouble. That was the 70s test. You've got to get back under these 50s now. If you get back under these 50s now, you have got a shot of moving lower. If you hold the 50s now, I really would consider just being done with it. Right at these 50s. So there's retest of 70s. You're right at the 50s. If they reclaim 70s, you go 90s. You cannot let this come above 70s. If you were short in the 90s, you'll be very upset. And you're into lunch. Yeah, you're well into lunch. Didn't realize. All right, under the 50s, you need expansion of value area low. Otherwise, you're in trouble. Was there news today about the war? There's always news about the war every day. It's whether you believe it. The news was this morning saying Iran didn't agree to the terms and they set out 5 points. But that was from Iranian TV. I don't know if that's been verified anywhere. Couldn't tell you. There's the big problem right now. Who's verifying stuff? Has anyone verified if troops are actually going to be on the ground by the end of the week? I don't know. Maybe they have, maybe they haven't. Who knows how long this war goes on for, what's done. Like, it's beyond my pay grade. The only people that know are the leaders of Iran and the leaders of America. None of us know, which is why this market can't make a decision. I would agree with that. If troops are on the ground, I think it's going to be a problem for the market. I'd agree with that. Don't think that goes down too well, because that will, all that indicates is a longer pattern of war, which will put oil prices up again. All right, let's see. Are we there yet? Are we at 1,200 yet? 1-1. We're almost there. A few more likes, folks, and we're there. 1,200 likes on stream, and we'll do a giveaway here. We'll give away a course and an Apex account. Alex, for SNR, looking back to December, what's more recommendable? Highest or lowest only, or open and close? What do you mean highest or low? I don't understand that question. Please stop typing. We haven't got anything running yet. You've got to get me to 1,200 likes. Please stop typing, folks. All right, back to these 50s again. So you can see we're just doing the 70 to 50 dance. You can see the importance of the 70s and 50s. That's all you're doing right now. Under the 50s, so you can potentially get expansion back down to the IB. And if they really let go of it, you can have some fun. All right, remember, these are the targets down here. You should have paid yourself on that last move. Those of you who are short from here, your stop should be protecting this shelf here, and you should be looking for partials into any of this, and ideally they get you into this. I don't know if they're going to do that today. That would be fairly risk off. That would be basically by saying that nothing's changed since yesterday if we come down into that. They're trying to sell this, you can see, but there's just bids just here everywhere, all the way down to 20 right now. And there's no volume. They're trying, they're really trying. There's no like aggressive seller stepping on the tape. That's the problem because it's lunch. And ES is awful. I'll show you what I'm looking at ES, which is why I'm concerned. Look at these gamma levels. Stacked. There's no fucking room, man. Like, what is that? There's no room. I've never seen it like that. That's a fucking joke. Which is why I'm saying, like, I think you're limited downside until they start putting put walls down here. This is like ES is going to cause you a major problem because the upside is right up here. It's like it's the options dealers just playing games. Are we there yet, guys? I'd really like to get off the stream here. There or thereabouts. All right, let's set up a giveaway here. Okay, we'll do the course first. So just type course once in chat for the beginner course. So just type course first. Course, not FCT. Type course in chat. Just type it once. Do a giveaway for that. Man, I'm so upset. I'm so upset that this market just does not want to play ball with me. Oh man, I was so willing to play both ways as well today. But it's a bit like the big Trump candle on Monday. Like, we're just pinned in this candle. It's just fucking hard, man. It's really hard. For me, as a momentum trader, it's really hard. Really, really hard. But you just got to laugh. It's just one day, eh? I say it all the time. It's one day. Especially when I feel tilty. One of the things I feel with tilt, I don't know if you guys get this, like I can feel my hands sort of clench up. They don't get sweaty. They like clench up. It's like a kind of feeling, but it comes through my hands. That's a really good signal that I just need to back off. And it's been a pooey day for me. Achieved absolutely nothing. Well, that's not fair, really. I'm up $1,700, but for the amount of range that we've delivered today, I would say it's pretty poor. Yeah. All right, let's pull this winner then. Ryder, I mean, look, thanks for letting me know that you're gay and a black woman. That's you don't get preference for winning the course based on color, gender, sexuality, or anything else. Everyone's welcome here. No one gets preference. It's pulled at random. Okay, here we go. The winner is Dreamya 777. Dream YA 777. Dreamya 777. Are you here? Let me know you're here in chat. There you are. Nice. Okay, I'm going to make a note of your name. All I'm going to ask you to do is email me, please, at info@flowzonetrader.com and just send me a screenshot of you logged into YouTube. All right, and then I'm going to sort you out with the 2-hour beginner course. All right, next up, free Apex accounts for you guys, the new accounts. That sale continues, I think, till the end of the month now, till tomorrow. Just type FCT once in chat. We'll give away a free Apex account here. Give you guys a couple minutes to do that. Some of you guys saying, please stop the war. I mean, I'm a 40-year-old man sat behind a computer at home. I can't do much about the war, my friend. I wish I could. I wish we could stop all killing on this earth and all the hate that goes on all the time. But I can't do anything about it. I don't have a direct line to Bibi and Trump. I wish I did. But I don't. You can see that we're just trapped here still. No change. It's so slow now. Let me see. Did I stick to my plan today? While you guys get through that, let me see. Did I stick to my plan? What was I looking for? So here, I can show you what I was looking for today while you guys enter. I think I stuck to my plan pretty well. So the entry was if we held above for the squeeze, all right, to clean out these stops. Or if the failure was up there, it was to clean out the stops and fail back inside and come back down to previous day value area high, which is what we did without the clean out of the stops, which is why I couldn't get the short. And then down here was the long trigger back up, which is what we're sort of in now, but it was a V shape. And then under here, we can think about a bigger sell. So I think I stuck to my rules. I think I traded what was available. There just wasn't much available for how I trade. Maybe could have attacked this up here. Anyone who sold that, it's very, very good. Like this level is good to sell. You can see it's where we broke down from. That's a big squeeze, and we didn't leave much excess up there for me to sell against. So is what it is. All right, let's pick a winner here. Ragu K, L2E, Ragu K. Hopefully I've said that right. Ragu K. Or Raghuke. I don't know how you say it. My bad. L2E. Let me know you're here in chat. Yeah, nice. Congratulations. All right, free Apex account on the way to you. Again, same thing as with Dreamia. Just email me, please, info@flowzonetrader.com. Send me a screenshot of you logged into YouTube, and I'll sort you out with a free Apex account once I get off stream. All right. Yeah, I know, Mads, but the thing is, they get pulled out. All these people spamming, the Nightbot instantly bans them. So they might think they enter more, but they don't. They don't get anything else. Don't worry. Okay, let me set you up for what I'd be looking at this afternoon, which is not a lot, all right? So again, I would be zooming out, higher time frame, right? What do we have here? In fact, let's go back to the daily. Where are we at on the daily? Nothing. All right, we're at nothing on the daily. We haven't broken previous day high or previous day low. We haven't broken Monday high or Monday low. We are still in a liquidity building phase of this market. All right, no breakout, no sweep. Right, the sweep would have been really good. None of that. All right, so nothing to do when I'm looking at the daily. Still liquidity building phase of the market. All right, if we go down to the hourly chart, you can see currently in the hourly chart we cannot find acceptance back inside previous week value area low node. All right, we've struggled to find acceptance back above that. We drifted up to the top side of current week value area high and point of control. We had the chance to do this sweep here, which is what ES did. We didn't do it. We failed. We've now let go of 420. So I would be very, very cautious. Okay, all the time we are rejecting sort of 420. It's a big range, but 420 to 460. I think there's a chance for a rejection back down to the lower side of range. The problem that you've got is we are so condensed versus previous day. All right, this is your previous day breakout, right? This is why I was looking for longs down here yesterday for this move. We've back tested it twice now. They can very well hold the longs and have another go at this. So you have to be very, very careful. If you've played those shorts from 420, 430 and from 400, you better be covering some in here. You're not. All right, you are not a new money short down here. You do not start a new short position down here into the 300s. You are absolutely asking to get clapped if you do that. All right, you are asking to get clapped if you do that. This is not a position to start a new money short. The short is really from somewhere up here and you're covering into this. The long, they're very well might absorb this and come back up, all right? And then you're covering into this and holding runners. Same way as your short here, holding runners. No new shorts down here, and I'd be very careful about getting a new money long up here in today unless we break out and we hold, okay? And if I was you, I'd be leaving that area alone, all right? I'd be leaving that area alone. But each to their own. All right, team, that's it from me. I'll be back same time tomorrow. Hopefully, we can move out of this. I was really thought, given the weekly model, we had a chance of moving out of this, or at least doing, oh, here you go, back to the upside. Moving out of this. So bids are holding 350. You're up to the 400 now. Again, they might come up to 420. Any reclaim of that, I'd be very, very cautious. All right, folks. And those in Discord, I'll pop in actually instantly and fill you in on what we're looking at. And then going to take a little break, go to the gym, all that good stuff. Peace and love, everyone. Be kind to each other. All right. Please clean up the chat for tomorrow. I'd really appreciate it. See you soon.